One LAPD station since March. She'll help walk you through the application process for victim compensation. It's funded by the state. Domestic violence and sexual assault victims can receive up to $2,000 in relocation fees. Compensation for funeral and burial costs, up to $7,500. Medical and dental bills may be covered too.
People don't know that we're here. A lot of people don't know that they can get these services. So many people have bills and collections that they can't pay.
Victims can make appointments through the website or by using the newly launched mobile app.
You use the system, you go to helpLACrimevictims.org, you'll be able to pull up our website, get information about our program, and put in a request for assistance to meet with one of our victim advocates in one of those locations. Search for Victim Assistance on Google Play or the iTunes Store. You'll be able to see our app and download it for free.
I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Appointments online or through the app can put you in touch with an advocate within 24 hours. A giant recruitment fair at the mayor's Getty House as Mayor Eric Garcetti seeks to fill more police and firefighter positions with women. Anna Marcos was there and has the story.
These young women are trying on LA firefighter gear for fun, but recruiting, training, and inducting them into the ranks of the LA Fire Department and LAPD is serious business, as city leaders work to attract more women into these jobs. This mega recruitment event is one of Garcetti's many efforts to bring more women into traditionally male-dominated police and firefighter jobs. The LAPD is seeing 10% of its academy classes filled with women, and female recruitment in the fire department has shot up by 40%. Among the eager candidates, young women in the police and fire cadet programs.
I learned how to be more disciplined, not only in the program, but around my community and within my house.
And your school?
Yes.
You get to actually be in that that building that's on fire, and while other people are scared and everything, and they train you to remain calm and just do what you have to do. We have to wear all of our gear, which is our turnout gears, our SCBA, and sometimes we have to carry ladders or forcible entry tools. Like, they may not look heavy, but when you're walking, like, at least, like, over a block or two, you're like, wow, like, this is, like, weight.
The city has launched a new effort, the Pledge to Patrol program. It's a bridge between the cadet program and the police academy, and it even pays for your college tuition.
I'm actually starting the academy next month. I'll be the first one out of this program to start the actual police academy.
We go and we work with detectives, we go on ride-alongs, we do a lot of community relations. You know, the detectives, gangs, you know, we see that there are people wanting to help people. So they have this drive, and I'm like, I want to be on that train too. Like, let me get on your drive.
Females have a lot more compassion that they bring to the job. They bring a different aspect, like the communication side. And, you know, because guys can be a little rough around the edges, and it's like the girls can bring that compassion. And it's like you can do it like the guys, and you can even do it 2 times better than the guys.
If that is true, the gritty jobs of patrolling the streets and saving lives are about to get extra doses of compassion. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Since becoming mayor, Garcetti has also filled more than half of the city's commissioner seats with women. It's a permanent, welcoming space where people facing homelessness can get help on the spot. Rasha Goel has more on this new resource.
3, 2, 1. A vacant Civic Center kiosk across from Parker Center on Los Angeles Street is now a homeless help desk. It will provide individuals with information on services, resources, and shelter information.
Putting a help desk here right in front of City Hall sends a loud message to everyone in Los Angeles about what Los Angeles is about, that we do care. We want to be there for every Angelino, no matter what income level, no matter what struggles you're going through. We are here to help, and we all could do more, and we should be doing more.
Today, 4 of our current Older Workers Program participants, formerly homeless, are placed here at the help desk. This is their job training program, and they are helping us to reach out to a population that oftentimes doesn't get connected to the services that they need.
The unveiling of the kiosk is part of Homeless Connect Day, where homeless service providers will be available on hand to assist those experiencing homelessness with information they may need.
People who are homeless can come out of the shadows, can ask for help, that they deserve help.
Hopes are their support and experiences will help other homeless individuals.
tragedies happen every time, and people end up, in situations where, they need comfort, and need to feel, safe.
We help them with basic necessities, hygiene, pillows, blankets, stuff to keep them warm. Today we have brand new jackets we're passing out with t-shirts and dog pet food and pet beds, and we're just here to help them be a little more comfortable in their uncomfortable situation.
The Homeless Help Desk is a collaboration between Councilman Huizar's office and the mayor's office. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The Homeless Help Desk is located in a kiosk behind City Hall East and is open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Mental health services have a new permanent home in the underserved community of Watts. As Gil Reyes reports, the move is years in the making.
If you live in this part of South Los Angeles, there's a new option for low-cost mental health services. The Southern California Counseling Center opens its first satellite facility in Watts.
This was my ambition from the minute that I got hired to the center, was to get us out of the building and out into the community where we can serve people in the neighborhood rather than them coming to us.
At the grand opening, we learn of the history. The original center has served people in the Mid-City area since the late 1960s. Their services in Watts only began in 2014 and on a limited basis only through the Watts Labor Community Action Committee.
And as the need increased in the community, we wanted to be able to service more people in the community.
And so a permanent 6-room building at the Watts Committee campus opens. There is a 6-week waiting list for services set up by the courts, or you can set up on your own. Substance abuse, relationship counseling, and anger management services included. In Watts, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Services are for individuals, couples, and families. The folks at the center say their rates are low and on a sliding scale. We all know LA suffers from a housing crunch, and often tenants feel the pinch from landlords trying to raise rents or evict people illegally. But a free workshop in Council District 1 aims to change that. Anna Marcos has more.
City leaders got an earful from residents at this housing and tenants' rights workshop and legal clinic. Apparently, there are a lot of rental and housing gripes in this area of Pico Union.
The biggest one is that landlords want to kick out or evict their tenants to raise the prices. And of course, that's illegal.
Within our community, we have about over 85% who are renters. And so there's a lot of compliance issues from landlords, a lot of filth in the buildings, rodent issues. A lot of the families are feeling unsafe. And so these are a lot of the issues that we're discussing.
This event is one of a series of housing rights workshops held throughout Councilmember Gil Cedillo's District 1. A joint effort by Cedillo's office, the LA Housing Community Investment Department, and local lawyers who provide free pro bono legal help for tenants. Residents are finding out when they can and can't get evicted, what rent increases are allowable, and how to get help when they're living in unsafe conditions.
Sometimes we think we don't have rights to, to protect our rights.
Regardless of their legal status, they need to know that they're protected under the law here in Los Angeles.
I wish that a lot of people can come to these workshops and learn more for themselves or to share with other people.
But for these tenants, at least, knowledge is power. And now they will be a force to be reckoned with in the rental market. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Lawyers from Ferias Legales provided pro bono work for the workshop. Well, it's about to undergo a major transformation, and officials hope once completed, it will help transform lives. Rasha Goel has more on a future facility dedicated to at-risk youth.
This may be an empty garage, but soon it will be a renovated youth recreation center.
This empty space is about to be transformed into dance studios, music studios, a fitness center, really exciting youth development opportunities for some of our most at-risk youth here in the East Valley.
The project has been in the works for 8 years and been a pivotal one for the New Directions for Youth organization. The organization has been around for 43 years and has continuously worked to create a positive atmosphere for at-risk youth.
We know that the youth who struggle the most are low-income youth who are of color, brown or black, and those youth are falling behind terribly in school. They are dropping out at higher rates than other youth, and they are struggling to become productive citizens. They suffer in the family from domestic violence and child abuse. A lot of the youth we work with are in foster care.
The new 5,000 square foot facility will help provide activities that also serve as a preventative measure to help these kids lead productive lives.
I was very proud that we were able to get $600,000 in funding to make this project happen. And that's money very well invested in preventing some of these young people from falling into the clutches of gangs or substance abuse.
It gives them an opportunity to really begin to build a foundation for a better life.
He also says investing in the youth is part of a worthy long-term crime reduction strategy. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The new center will offer programs such as after-school tutoring, counseling, art therapy, life skills, and more. Families in Venice headed outdoors for a day at the beach, not to play, but to help save the planet. As Gil Reyes reports, you're invited too.
The Geisler family is among the locals helping to pick up trash in Venice Beach.
Keep the ocean clean and the animals alive.
You know, this is why we live here. It's a beautiful area. We get the mountains, the beach, and you know, it's our responsibility to clean it up.
The environmental nonprofit group Heal the Bay organized this event.
Today is our monthly Nothing But Sand cleanup, where we gather people from all over the county and welcome them to one of our local beaches, and they all pitch in and we try to get as much trash off as we can.
Around 15 years ago, Heal the Bay was lucky to get 100 people to show up. Today, the group says 1,000 volunteers typically attend. Cleanups take place every third Saturday at a different beach, drawing church groups, alumni associations, and more.
WISE LA, Women Investing in a Sustainable Economy. And I'm here primarily to support that group, but also to support this little one up above me, because we need to make a difference and kind of change the way the world is moving right now.
Many of the volunteers oppose offshore drilling and other plans by the federal government that they say threaten our oceans. You can do your part to help save the planet by volunteering at the next coastal cleanup. Find out where at healthebay.org. I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Heal the Bay hosts volunteer cleanups in the Santa Monica Bay from Will Rogers State Beach to Torrance. While city leaders highlight LA's attributes in the hopes of attracting more investors, trash collection goes high-tech in Council District 4, and spring is in the air at the LA Zoo. All these stories in City Beat. The City of LA held its 4th Regional Investors Conference recently. Several city departments were on hand and highlighted all that Los Angeles has to offer for potential investors. Mayor Eric Garcetti talked about advancements in basic city services, economic growth, and infrastructure.
So if you want to see the face of the world today, come to LA. If you want to see the face of this country tomorrow, come to LA. Whether it's investments we're making in higher education, whether it's the 2028 Olympics, when the world will come here again. This is truly one of those great decades that will, I believe, lay the foundation for another 50 years of prosperity.
Councilmember David Rue, the Bureau of Sanitation, and representatives from eCube installed the first of 5 solar-powered compacting trash bins on Wilshire Boulevard in the Mid-City area. Officials say the bins are not only a more sustainable way to keep Los Angeles clean, but use mobile technology like sensors to alert LA Sanitation when a bin is full for more efficient waste removal.
With this technology, we can increase the capacity of waste collection, and also with the data with LA Sanitation, we'll be able to understand waste generation patterns and histories and ultimately increase the efficiency of waste collection.
These sensors will save the city time, save the city money, and save the city energy.
Families hopped into spring and had fun at the LA Zoo's Bug Bunny Spring Fling. There was plenty of activities on hand, including a seed planting craft station, a bunny education station, animal presentations, face painting, and spring dance.
It's such a special experience for families to come here and connect with each other and nature and learn about wildlife here at the zoo and in the wild and what they can do to protect and safeguard wildlife and wild habitats.
A senior center in Council District 9 is not only taking care of its older population, but it's also bringing seniors together. Rasha Goel has more.
It gives us something to do and makes us reunite with one another and support each other.
Kathy Brown is among the seniors who is excited for the grand reopening of the Estelle Van Meter Multi-Purpose Senior Center in South Los Angeles. Thanks to this center, seniors will have free access to information, resources, and activities that can help them live fulfilling lives.
And we also have one of the most diverse older adult populations in the country. So what you'll see in the center is that you have African American seniors, Latino seniors, Caucasian seniors, other folks that live in this community coming here. Those seniors no longer have to stay home and be isolated, and they no longer have to travel a longer distance to find one of our other sites.
The city's Department of Aging has been working with Councilman Curran Price's office in creating services at the center. The councilman was able to secure $500,000 in funding per year for operation of the facility.
That's going to just help facilitate many of the programs that take place now in terms of the nutrition programs, the health programs, education programs. So it's going to really be an exciting center of operation.
The senior population is a growing population in Los Angeles, and this is the second center geared towards helping seniors in the 9th District. Now, it's taken about 4 years to help create and implement a program that helps seniors here in this community. The center has been open for several years, but is being rededicated. It is named after Estelle Van Meter.
She was a strong advocate for families and for kids, for making sure that the city, this area, part of town, received the services that it deserved, and that it was actively engaged in the decision-making process.
And her work has helped pave the way for many here.
And it give them like a voice, you know, and help them to pay bills, help them to get around to different places like doctor's office, you know, appointments and stuff like that. So it's really a great thing.
A great thing to know you can help bring fulfillment to the lives of others. In South Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
There are 27 senior centers in the city of Los Angeles. Go back in time to witness an authentic Victorian fashion show, help keep one of our precious resources clean, and discover the unique flavor of Toluca Lake during an Earth Day celebration. All this in this week's Things to Do. Legend has it that a duchess was too hungry to wait for a late dinner, so she began an afternoon custom of enjoying a selection of biscuits and cakes with her friends. Queen Victoria learned of this activity and also fell in love with the idea. By the late 1840s, the royal household was hosting daily tea parties, which later became known as afternoon tea. Join the Heritage Square Museum for a Victorian afternoon tea and fashion show as it presents First Ladies of Fashion. Whether they're American, French, or English, First Ladies have always been fashion trendsetters. Some of the more notable American First Ladies, from Martha Washington to the most iconic and fashionable First Lady Jackie Kennedy, will be showcased. It all takes place April 14th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Heritage Square Museum, located at 3800 Homer Street. For more, visit heritagesquare.org. One of the best ways you can help preserve the present and future health of the LA River is by joining a cleanup effort. The group Friends of the LA River and nearly 10,000 of its closest friends team up each year to beautify the entire length of the river, the largest urban river cleanup in America. For 29 years, the group and Angelinos have cleaned the Los Angeles River and protected our oceans from trash and refuse. Join the effort on Saturday, April 14th for the biggest urban river cleanup in the country. For more, visit folar.org. Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council is hosting its 7th annual Earth Day celebration featuring Taste of Toluca. The event will be highlighted by a keynote delivered by Ed Begley Jr. and an appearance by LA Stormwater as the Trash Monster. You're invited to join the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council in celebrating our beautiful planet and discovering this hidden gem of a neighborhood. The event features over 40 festive booths, including local merchants and nonprofit agencies sharing environmental and green living information and services. At the same time, Taste of Toluca will offer complimentary small plates of favorite foods from a wide variety of local purveyors. Family fun includes a kids' activity corner and a recycled art contest. Contest winners will receive a week of art camp donated by Stephen Cates Camp. Live music and entertainment on the center stage will be featured throughout the day. Admission is free. It all takes place on Sunday, April 15th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Okay, good morning, good morning. Please take your seats. Today is Friday, the 13th. I want to welcome you to the Valley City Hall, Van Nuys City Hall. Madam Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Would you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Heristasen, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Buscaino moves and Mr. Price seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Ms. Martinez moves and Mr. Rue seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, items 1 through 7 are items for which public hearings have been held. A Trade, Travel, and Tourism Committee report has been submitted, posted, and circulated for item 1.
Okay, why don't we prepare to vote on these items? Mr. Buscaino would like to hold item 1. We'll vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Continue.
And Mr. President, the ordinance for item 2 will be held over 1 week unless reconsidered with 12 members present.
Thank you. Continue.
On the continuation agenda, item 8 is an item for which a public hearing has been held.
Can we hold item 8?
Let's hold item 8 at the request of Ms. Martinez. Continue.
And Mr. President, that then takes council back to presentations, items called special or general public comment.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Blumenfield, are you ready for your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, then the floor, well, for your presentations, then the floor is yours.
Morning, colleagues. This morning I am very happy that we are honoring Mary Patterson. Mary over here has, for more than 35 years, has helped make the West San Fernando Valley a much better place. She grew up in the West Valley. And we can't clap after everything I say about her because there's so much good about her that we would just be here all night clapping and stuff. So she grew up in the West Valley. She's lived and worked in Canoga Park since 1981. About that time, Mary entered the natural food products industry and began working for local vegetarian market and cafe, the Canoga Park, which we all know called Follow Your Heart. She worked at Earth Island, their manufacturing facility in Chatsworth, where Veganese and other vegan products are produced. Since 2002, Mary has been the executive director of the Canoga Park Improvement Association, which is a very important local business improvement district in my district. Now, Mary has played a key role in many of Canoga Park's major community events, including a weekly farmers market, St. Patrick's Day Community March and Celebration, Canoga Park Memorial Day Parade, the Third Thursday, which is the home of the Canoga Park Arts Walk, the Clyde Porter Arts Day, the Dia de los Muertos Family Festival. She basically makes it all happen. Canoga Park is as you know, many of you know, when you think about my district, you don't realize that there are areas of my district that are very socioeconomically disadvantaged, and Canoga Park is in that area, but because it's so far from downtown, from other large concentrations of poverty areas, it often doesn't get the attention that it deserves, and also because it's close to other zip codes that are wealthier. But Canoga Park has a tremendous amount of need, and Mary has been there with her mission to help serve that need. She's made it her mission to ensure that Canoga Park is not only ignored, but she has secured grants for repair of degraded alleys and curbs, repair and protection of graffiti-etched windows, public gardens, greening alleys, and public art. One special piece of art is the mural entitled Magical Mystery Destination, which she's smiling about, which is a tile and mosaic mural at the Canoga Park Youth Arts Center, which was created by 300 children. Mary has worked with the Valley Cultural Center and Cal State Northridge to obtain a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts for our community's Owens Mouth Arts Nexus. That includes the Canoga Park Car Plays, which I just saw a couple of weeks ago, was excellent. The Main Street Green Alleys, the documentation of various projects that are currently being implemented. Now, just by reading her bio, I don't know how Mary has time to do all of her volunteer work, but somehow she does. And the extra things on top of everything that I've talked about include being an emergency medical technician, EMT Cert Level 3, on-call manager for the mayor's crisis response team, the vice president of the Canoga Park Neighborhood Council, an executive board member of Main Street Canoga Park, and the current secretary and past distinguished president of the Kiwanis Club of Canoga Park and Reseda, and president of the West Valley Playhouse. She's mastered cloning, basically, and she's able to move herself into 5 different places at any given time. But one of her favorite accomplishments to date was Canoga Park's successful application for the prestigious National Civic League's All-America City Award. Canoga Park was named an All-America City in 2005 and won because this special community had a story to tell, and many dedicated organizations and individuals to tell that story. Canoga Park was the first, and so far still the only neighborhood in the city of Los Angeles that has won this important distinction. If you're ever in my district, you will find the All-America City symbol at the intersection of Sherman Way and Owens Mouth. I know after this meeting there's going to be a rush to go to that location to see the symbol, so what I'd urge you to do is kind of spread it out over time because we don't want to clog up traffic. Bottom line is Mary loves her community and her community loves her. She cares about people and animals who share our neighborhoods and planet. She's also driven to learn from others, to find ways to improve conditions, to bridge divides, to share cultural experiences, and in general, uplift and improve the quality of life for all of us. My district, my community, our area is so much better because of the work that you do day in and day out. As a small token of recognition, we have a certificate for you, and I want to give that to you. But before we do that, Miguel Fernandez would like to say a few words, and we want to give you a chance to say a word or two. So, Miguel.
Thank you. Well, after that, I don't have much to add. He took all if I was ready, right. But if I have one, yeah, you did. So if I have one thing to say is that Mary has turned a job into a passion. Every minute of her life is dedicated to the community. I worked with her for 18 years. And we defined a job for her that she totally redefined, has delivered on time with quality, and this award is very much deserved by Mary. I'm very happy to have been working with her for a while, and I hope that she could continue to work with us for the rest of the life of the district. Thank you very much. You have a good day.
Thank you, Miguel. Mary, would you like to say a few words?
All right.
You know, let's give her a real round of applause. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Council President Wesson, and greetings, council members. And special thank you to you, Council Member Blumenfield, for this recognition. I will say that the good thing I was a little shy about the idea of the recognition initially. The good thing that came out of it was I got to spend some time contemplating all of the great people really that do so much in this city, not just in our community. And I have amazing partners and friends and mentors that really deserve this recognition, and I want to share it with. A few of which are here right now, and I'd just like to point out who's here. Well, we have Miguel Fernandez, who you just heard from, who's the treasurer of the Canoga Park Improvement Association, and really deserves his own Volunteer of the Year award because he puts in more time than anyone I've ever seen helping to revitalize Canoga Park. And we have Richard and Rita Stanis. Richard's on the board of directors also for Canoga Park Improvement, and his wife, and they both come to every event. He's the past treasurer also, and they're been dedicated business leaders in our community for a long, long time. And we have two very distinguished people, Ron Clary and Kyra Edrington. Ron Clary was probably the person or one of the main people. And I have to drink water because all of a sudden I'm very nervous.
Don't be nervous.
as I dribble. Ron Clary is he was one of the leaders in starting the Canoga Park Neighborhood Council. He was a distinguished lieutenant governor of the Kiwanis Club for Division 25 at the time. He was a past president for the Canoga Park Reseda Kiwanis, and really a stellar human being in all ways. And Kyra Edrington is kind of a sister to me over here, Kyra, who is the current president of the Canoga Park Reseda Kiwanis, a neighbor council board member, and is at every single charitable function, volunteer effort that there is in the valley. And I want to recognize Michael Sirota, former commissioner, who I still call him commissioner. I don't know if you keep that title like you keep president, but I like the sound of it. He is our current vice president. I've known him probably for 35 years from when I started at Follow Your Heart, and he had a little printing shop in Canoga Park. And he's part of the Lions Club and just other community efforts. He's always doing something good for the community. And I want to finally recognize somebody who's here. I'm very proud and happy that Mark De La Garza is here, this gentleman right over here, who not only is a good friend, but worked with me in the Business Improvement District for about 10 years. And he's one of those people who makes things happen. When we have a task in front of us that seems like it's just crazy, how the heck are a couple of people going to pull something off? We just say failure's not an option, and we get it done, and it's been an amazing partnership. And he now, he's actually a naval veteran, and he's now on loan to us just for this. He made a trip down here today from the Sheriff's Department, where he's working currently as a custody assistant. And so he just recently left working with us in Canoga Park, but very, very dedicated individual who should be up here as well. So there's Mark De La Garza. I'm almost done. Just a few more hours, right? Sorry, everyone makes that joke, I'm sure. I just want to say also that I'm grateful that I get to, that the work that I do that I actually get paid for and the volunteer stuff that I do kind of coincides. We get to make our little part of Los Angeles a little bit better, and I love that. I'm very grateful for that opportunity. We have great work before all of us. We are working in our community to help people be self-reliant and prepared for natural disasters. We are working to help support the arts and hoping to keep the West Valley Playhouse building in our community. We found out that this great theater and nonprofit is, the building's being sold. So we're on a kind of a desperate track to save that. Hopefully we will, because it's been a great entity in our community. And I wanted to recognize actually the mayor, our county supervisors, Councilmember Bloomingfield, very much, and all of the council members, because of all of your efforts taking on and this amazing task of coming up with meaningful solutions to homelessness in the city of Los Angeles. Because maybe it's happened before, but I've never had this experience of feeling like this intention where everyone's in alignment so much. And even though the problem on the outside appears worse than ever, and probably is, the solutions that I've been learning about and hope to collaborate on have been really outstanding. So I just really want to acknowledge all of you for your efforts to do that in the city. And so I will stop talking. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and
Thank you.
on to the next.
All right.
Thanks.
Let's give you this. Please accept this certificate signed by everyone here on the council.
Wow.
All right.
Picture?
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm? Oh. You guys go to the wall. I need to do one more thing, and then I'll go over there. Yes. Sarah, come on up.
Mr. Blumenfield, you want to proceed with your...
Second. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize Sarah. Sarah, come on up here. A lot of you know Sarah. We've all seen her around here. She has been a fixture. I'd like to recognize Sarah Walsh as the former Director, State Government Affairs for the Motion Picture Association of America, the MPAA. She was responsible for protecting and enhancing the business interests of the MPAA member companies on issues affecting the production of motion pictures and television programs, as well as studio operations. In addition to managing MPAA's local Los Angeles area advocacy, she was responsible for reviewing and analyzing legislation in the 50 states in many subjects that cover the MPAA State Government Affairs Department. You name it. Melissa, come on up here too, and Sarah up here, come on. Prior to joining MPAA, Sarah served as a field representative to the district office of State Senator Deborah Bowen. Before that, she was a program assistant with service learning directors around the country. For many years, she was a member of then Congressman Javier Becerra's Congressional Arts Competition Committee. He was just here yesterday. You just missed him. Look, I've worked with Sarah on a lot of entertainment issues over the last, really, decade or more, certainly the last 8 years, in a variety of capacities, both as a council person, as an assembly person, and even before that. She has been a valuable resource in helping me craft legislation, improving the lives of people who continue to create entertainment that continue to enrich our daily lives. She's made a real difference and a real impact. I wish her, and I know all of us here wish her success in her new position, and know that she will continue to be a valuable player in the city of Los Angeles. Melissa, you want to say a few words, and then we'll have Sarah say a few words? Melissa, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Blumenfield. It's really a great honor to be here. Let me first acknowledge the colleagues who have joined us here to honor Sarah and honor all of you and the council for doing this. From the MPAA, Suzanne Now, who is a constituent of Councilmember Englander's, Debbie Boyce, who is a constituent of Councilmember Rodriguez's. From the member companies, Kristen Kavanaugh from Sony Pictures, from NBC Universal, Kathy Banuelos, and from Warner Brothers Entertainment, Carla Sales, who's our resident photographer. Thank you. So yes, a few words about Sarah, who joined the MPAA almost 14 years ago. She's had the privilege of serving under several of our CEOs and chairmen, from Jack Valenti, Dan Glickman, Chris Dodd, to our most current CEO, Charlie Rivkin. Let me tell you, when you sign up for a job at the MPAA, you think you're working for, you are working for the leading producers and distributors of filmed entertainment content across all distribution formats. Never in your wildest dreams do you think you're going to be involved in how the city disposes and picks up trash. Never in your wildest dreams do you think you're going to be navigating bike lanes and what color paint those bike lanes should be painted. But there have been a range of issues, from business tax to streetscaping to the modernization of LAX. Sarah has been involved in all of them, and in her new job will continue to be involved in all of them on behalf of the MPAA and the member companies. I want to say thank you to Councilmember Blumenfield and to all of the City Council, the President, and the members. It's a great honor to recognize Sarah, to recognize her work at the MPAA. We enjoy a partnership with you on behalf of the Motion Picture Association and the industry. You realize how important this business is to the city of Los Angeles and to all the great job creation, good middle-class jobs that are created by the presence of motion picture and TV production here in LA. And there's one other person I want to acknowledge that I omitted, Todd Lindgren from our friendly sister organization called Contract Services, who's here also to pay tribute to Sarah. So thank you all very much. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here, and to Sarah.
Let's give them all of them a round of applause. Mr. Buscaino, before Sarah speaks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to rise and recognize. Want to rise and recognize Sarah for her constant commitment and dedication, not only to our city but also to the film industry in a time where Film LA, for once. We just met yesterday with Melissa in preparation for the National League of Cities City Summit. We'll be here in November. And it reminded me of the work that you've done alongside Melissa and others to really focus on the film tax credits and Film LA, how much of an amazing resource it is to keep these productions in our city. I just want to rise and recognize you for your commitment and leadership, and thank you for really being the advocate that you've been with our film industry. Appreciate your support.
Mr. Englander.
I just want to thank you and recognize you for your friendship, and you've really been there for us and for me particularly over the years and navigating a lot of the issues, and not only around the film industry but filming period in neighborhoods, and working with the MPA's perspective and partnering on making movies that matter, and really spreading the word on why it's important to home grow a future workforce here in the arts and this industry and keep it here because this is Hollywood. Your position on not runaway production but ranaway production, and bringing it back here and making sure that we do have the backbone of what Hollywood is all about here in our neighborhoods and our communities has been stellar. And I appreciate it and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilmember Blumenfield, for this incredible honor and for your support for the film and television industry over your many years in public service. It's truly appreciated. And thank you all to the members of the Los Angeles City Council for this honor, for your support for LA's hometown industry, for your commitment to making LA film friendly. It's certainly made my job easier over the past many years, and it's been a pleasure to work with all of you. It's been an honor to represent Fox, Sony, Paramount, NBC Universal, Disney, and Warner Brothers during my 14 years with the Motion Picture Association. And now I look forward to representing MPAA in my new role at X Sunken and By, and to further the progress we've all made together. So I just wanted to thank my colleagues who are here today, Melissa from our State Government Affairs Department, my friends and colleagues from the MPAA, from the studios and elsewhere who came out to support me today. It means the world to me. So thank you again to the council. Thank you again, Councilmember Blumenfield. It's truly an honor. Thank you.
All right. Accept this small token of appreciation.
Thank you.
Do a photo.
Okay, Mr. Englander.
Come on, folks. Come on. Come on, all over here. Mr. President, colleagues, I'd like to introduce you to a new activity, a new honor, a new program that we're launching here today that we'll be doing every month. And it's because we have such a great community of culture here in Los Angeles. And we are blessed not only to have an incredible team of Los Angeles firefighters and police officers, but citizens and civilians who are willing to put their own lives
on the front line, our local Los Angeles heroes, those who aren't trained to run into danger, those who sacrifice their own lives for a complete stranger. And so today, we are launching the Los Angeles Local Heroes Program. On January 5th, 2018, Jose, Sergio, Salvador were roofers working on a house on Roscoe Boulevard. Ed Klecka was their foreman and was inside the house with the homeowner. Jose Cortez was looking west and saw a white sedan coming east at between 80 and 100 miles an hour. It hit a dip in the road, lost control, and slid sideways eastbound for about 2 to 3 seconds before colliding with several cars parked on the roadway. The white sedan overturned into the front lawn of the house. They were working and looking at all the cars that burst into flames while the white sedan landed on its roof. All 3 men jumped off the top of the house, off the roof, and ran toward the burning white sedan. The female passenger had crawled out the back door, but the male driver was trapped inside and the flames were burning the driver and his clothes. Ed had come outside and began to assist. Jose grabbed a garden hose and began to unravel it as Sergio pulled the hose toward the car, began spraying water on the driver and surrounding the entire driver to keep him from burning alive. Jose and Sergio handed the hose to Ed and tried to pull the driver out of the car, but the driver was stuck. One of the burning cars out on the curb exploded. They weren't sure if the white sedan also exploded, and they did their best to douse the flames until the fire department arrived and took over. In fact, all 4 cars exploded. The driver was transported to the West Hills Hospital burn unit with over 50% of burns to his body. But today, he is alive. Without their intervention, the driver surely would have not made it. I would like to now present to you our local Los Angeles heroes, Jose Cortez, Sergio, Salvador, and Ed. And let me also tell you that Sergio and Salvador are first-generation Angelenos and Americans. They came here from Guatemala, and Jose is a first-generation from Mexico. And we want to congratulate them and recognize our Los Angeles local heroes. Let's give it up. I've got challenge coins for them as well. Thank you very much. On February 23rd, 2018, Thomas Martin and his passenger, listen to this story, this is crazy, were traveling westbound on Roscoe Boulevard, stopped at a red light. Thomas observed a tan Toyota Corolla westbound on Roscoe Boulevard, drove through the red light, narrowly colliding with the vehicle. Thomas pulled up to the vehicle on Roscoe at the 405 and noticed the driver, Jessica, appeared to be nodding off. Jessica continued westbound on Roscoe at Haskell, and she began and drove westbound into the upcoming eastbound traffic lanes. Thomas became alarmed that there would be a head-on collision. He risked his life, drove in the opposite lanes, swerving, honking his horn, and flashing his high beams, approaching traffic, trying to warn them. This caused the approaching traffic to stop, and Jessica veering back into the correct direction of traffic. Jessica stopped her vehicle in the left turn at Woodley Avenue. Thomas told his friend to call 911 while he quickly exited his vehicle and approached Jessica's window to get her out of the vehicle before she hurt herself or someone else. Thomas began to knock on the driver's window, attempting to get Jessica's attention. Jessica looked up and appeared incoherent. She did not appear to know what was happening. When the light turned green, Jessica drove westbound into the eastbound lanes, with Thomas began following her and attempting to warn oncoming traffic yet again. Jessica collided with one of the railroad crossing signal boxes located in the middle island just past the train tracks,
near Havenhurst Avenue. Her vehicle appeared to become disabled, and the rear of her vehicle was now on the tracks itself. Thomas exited the vehicle and quickly ran up to the driver's window. He observed Jessica's passed out with her head leaning against the driver's window. Jessica woke up but appeared to be in an altered state of mind. Thomas kept asking her to unlock the door while Stefan was still on the phone with 911. At that moment, Thomas looked down at the train tracks and observed the train with a distinct headlight approaching them. The train crossing arms began to come down as the bells and signals activated. Thomas immediately ran back to his vehicle and retrieved a 2-foot metal bar and attempted to break the driver's window. After several strikes, the window shattered. The train's horn was constant and getting louder by the second. Thomas unlocked the door, and he and Stefan attempted to pull Jessica out of the vehicle. In the commotion, Thomas forgot to unbuckle her seatbelt, and they were unable to get her out of the vehicle. At that point, Martha approached the scene and reached into the vehicle, another civilian. Unlocked the seatbelt without any care for her own safety. This allowed all three to drag Jessica away just before the train collided with the vehicle about 10 seconds later. The collision pushed the vehicle toward directly in the second railroad crossing signal box, breaking it and knocking the control box and crossing arm. The crossing arm landed on top of Martha's head, causing an injury. LAPD and LAFD responded and transported Jessica and Martha to the hospital for medical treatment. Jessica suffered a medical condition. In fact, as many of you know, I've been involved for personal reasons with the American Diabetes Association for well over 20 years. Jessica was having a diabetic shock. She was trying to make it to a 7-Eleven just to get some nourishment. I'd like to thank and now recognize and present to you our local Los Angeles heroes, Thomas Martin, Stephen Zelik, I'm going to get this right, Zelikovic, and Martha Vejinata, and they're all here today. Let's give them a big round of applause. I would like to now introduce you to Captain Neiman to say a few words, and if you'd come on up.
Council members, it's not every day that we see true heroes in our community, and what you've seen demonstrated here behind us are truly the members and the fabric of the city of Los Angeles, people helping people. Oftentimes, first responders are attributed to being heroes, but it's our job. It's what we do. It's our career. These wonderful people stopped out of their busy day to render aid to people who are in need with no regard for their personal safety, and that is truly admirable. I'd like to introduce the driver of that vehicle that got stuck on the railroad crossing, Jessica, just to say a couple of words about that experience and how grateful she is today to be here. So, Jessica, if you join us.
Please come forward.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the people who saved my life, the 3 people behind me. I remember that day and that night, and I just took the wrong street. I usually make a left on Sherman Way. I take the overpass near the airport, and I did it that night. So I made a mistake, and I had something to eat. I did. I had a Nature Valley granola bar, and I had one, and it was 29 grams, so I know I was aware. Maybe I should have had 2, but I only had 1. So I was eating it because, it's just, it's difficult sometimes to, always constantly measure your blood while driving. Yeah. So anyways, but thank you so very much for these guys. If it wasn't for them, who knows what would have happened. Thank you.
Colleagues, I'd like to just recognize these heroes again. We have a And Jessica's strength and courage to be here. And thank God she's alive today. Her father's here as well. And I'd like to recognize, he's hiding back here. Her father, who has a daughter because of these heroes. And let's give them another round of applause.
Give them a big round of applause.
Much.
Thank you all so very, very much.
We're going to take guys all over in the back. We're going to take some photos.
Okay, members, before we take up our first item, I think I want to call up, we'll do some general public comment. I want to call up Candido. Was Miss Walsh, Sean, and Mr. Gus. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, for being here in the San Fernando Valley. You know, it's interesting that my councilman would talk about these heroes who save lives, and yet every day when we turn on our television, Dodge Chrysler is on TV with their actors from Fast and Furious, and they say, be one of us. Take one of your vehicles and go down one of our Los Angeles streets at 100 miles an hour and try to get to the next stop. Why is it that we allow companies like Chrysler, Dodge, to go down the streets of our cities and endanger their lives? Why do children going to school have to fear of someone killing them with a fast car? Why do seniors get killed all the time because people are speeding? Mr. President, I think this is something this council can do something about. The city of Los Angeles has become very, very dangerous as far as pedestrians. Please, I ask this council to speak to Chrysler, Dodge, to speak to the movie industries. We cannot allow actors and companies to make profits on the death of human beings, wonderful human beings.
Thank you. Thank you. So the next speaker, please come forward. Identify yourself.
Hello, I'm Amy Walsh. I'm speaking here today about Airbnb. I'm an Airbnb host in Sherman Oaks. I've been doing it since last summer. And I think my other hosts share their appreciation for the council's investigation of this problem and trying to establish reasonable and fair regulations to allow homeowners the opportunity to share their home with visitors to Los Angeles. Most of my guests come to visit family. I have averaged 15 to 18 days, which would put me above the 120-day limit that has been proposed. The fees, I think, are draconian. If they were imposed, it would be for someone going over 120 days, a total of $7,000 for the year, and this would totally eliminate any advantage I have. I would propose that the fees be lowered for the initial, and the.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I called on Mr. Gus, Mr. Murphy, and Derek Rath, if you're here. Please come forward.
Council members, good morning. Mr. Weston, I want to give you one last opportunity to field questions of mine regarding a property that your cousin owns that you used as a residential address when you first ran for city council. And I want to be very clear, I'm giving you a chance to explain things. Ask Mr. Price how accurate my information is. By the way, congratulations to Mr. Price. He's finally alone with his second wife. Mr. Price, after lying his ass off to the people of Los Angeles for a year, is finally divorced from his first wife. He lied to every one of you. He lied to every one of us. He lied to his district. He lied to the district attorney's office through his attorneys. Mr. Price is finally divorced from his first wife. So where is Jackie Lacey? The problem for Mr. Price is there are domino effect of other problems from him.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
I have some items.
Well, this is just general public comment, so just do the general public comment.
Okay. 2 weeks ago, the city council ran a terrible job. I'm kind of angry about it. I'm thinking about hiring an attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. If you'd please identify yourself, and if I could get Anna Maria Camacho and Philip Wood. Yes, sir.
My name is Derek Rath. I'm 70 years old and I live in Venice. I thank the council for trying to broker a short-term rental ordinance that both curtails the bad players and helps homeowners share their homes in their primary residence. Tricky job. This should include all the property at their address, ensure the initial registration is affordable for all. Many of us rely on a year-round income, so ensure that any cap extension is also affordable. Perhaps a small percentage of the daily rate collectible in the same way TOT taxes are collected. A flat 5,000 rate is ridiculous and prohibitive. Nuisance violations should be verified as valid by appropriate agencies to prevent neighbor vendettas and grudges. Let's make this compromise affordable, accessible, and easy for both the city and us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Ana Maria Camacho, and I'm Airbnb host. I'm coming to ask Mr. Bloomfield and the whole committee to help us, people we are in the valley, to continue for the hosting. We're doing a lot of good in the community and to ourselves. We don't want to be on the streets. Since my old sons moved out, we had a struggle to continue paying for the house. With Airbnb 2 years ago, we even have a chance to go to Catalina Islands and also another trip. Please help us, to all people like me, to continue doing this from our homes, helping our relationships and building and helping the whole community. It do a lot of good. For some bad people, you cannot just restrain us all together. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Philip Wood. I'm also an Airbnb host. I've been retired about 10 years and live in Northridge. We have a small guest house in the back of our home, which we use as a short-term rental. We don't want to use this as a long-term for having other people. We do have guests from out of town and relatives, and we like to at least have the ability to house those people also. So it's very good for us to have a short-term rental so we can retain that for guests. We do use it quite a bit of the year, but not all. When we do have guests, I want you to know that we, like many other Airbnb people we have talked to, other short-term rental people, have a pretty good occupancy rate, about 90%, I would say. There are many people from out of town that want to come and stay in an Airbnb rather than a hotel.
Thank you. What was your name again, sir?
Philip Wood.
Okay, so if I could get Ed Coleman, Charles Bryce here, and is it Jamie Torsellini? Yes, identify yourself.
Ed Coleman. Good morning, council members, and good morning, Councilman Bonin. I share a room in my home of 37 years as a short-term rental. I'm retired and depend on the income from my guest room year-round as the principal source of my livelihood. I fully support the mandate in the short-term rental ordinance that restricts home sharing to one's principal residence. It is the key to this law. If properly enforced, that will go a long way toward remedying the ills now associated with STRs. I also applaud creating a mechanism whereby responsible resident hosts can exceed the 120-day gap. Thank you for listening to us. However, the draconian requirements to lift the cap do nothing to curb the absentee owners and commercial operators who have subverted the intent of home sharing. Please make this process simple, fair, and inexpensive. Let resident hosts, many of whom are retired, seniors, disabled, and single parents trying to make ends meet, share their homes year-round without having to pay thousands of dollars to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Please, come on. Next speaker. Doesn't matter if you're out of order. Just come identify yourself.
Bryce Fujii, District 3, Canoga Park, with Bob Blumenfeld.
What was the name again?
Bryce Fujii.
Okay.
Do you have? Okay. Misconceptions are driving stifling STR fees and regulations. The Planning Commission reported 7,500 properties exceeded a 120-day cap, with 1 million undocumented, which has the greater impact on housing availability. Owner-occupied STRs eliminate profiteering potential. Sharing your own home provides subsistence and requires a huge lifestyle commitment. This isn't Easy Street. Vetted, reviewed guests pose little criminal threat. Foreclosure and revolving homeownership is a greater risk. I've lived 24 years in my home. You'll find more sex offenders in our schools and attacks in ride shares. Airbnb self-regulates party houses. Violations are rare for owner-occupied homes. Current noise restrictions apply to all homeowners. Registration should be at nominal cost and reflect real facts, not hypothetical
Thank you.
untruths.
Thank you. And if I could quickly get behind this gentleman, Leslie Hope and Heather Blair. Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning. My name is Jamie Torsellini. I am in District 2. Paul Krikorian is my councilman. And I just wanted to let you know that I have owned my house, this is about Airbnb, in the Valley since 1986. And about 6 years ago, I joined Airbnb because I almost lost that house. Airbnb has been so helpful and sometimes has supplemented my income so much that I was able to not only fix it up and be there, I'm on the property with my guests, but I am no longer going to lose my home. My guests come from all over the country and all over the world. Most of them go to Universal since I live right down the street, and I plead with you to not add these costs and these fees. We are really helping the businesses that are local around my area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Leslie Hope. Hello, council members, and especially Council Member Bonin. The most troubling aspect of this proposed ordinance is the high fees required for exceeding the proposed 120-day cap. It is not the job of the planning department to punish residents who are trying to maintain their homes in an increasingly expensive environment by using high fees of approximately $7,000 a year, a draconian registration process pitting neighbor against neighbor, and diverting TOT from social programs when the necessary administrative departments already exist, such as the Finance Department for business licenses and the City Attorney's Office for enforcement. Such an ordinance, rather than regulating home sharing, will eliminate it entirely by favoring hotels and players with multiple properties that can afford to pay or strike deals. In a 2017 report, the Planning Department recognized that very few complaints against Airbnb guests have been registered by the City Attorney's Office. And I'd also like to add, whoops.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So if I could get Donna Pearman, Stavros Sokos, and Miriam. Please come forward. Identify yourself.
Name is Stavros Soskos. This message is for Councilman Englander. I'm writing to you about Airbnb experience. I'm a super host since I started. I love to do a lot of traveling, and I take care of all the travelers that they come around. And the very important part of the Airbnb experience is allowed me to keep my house, keep my home with my 2 children and my wife. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, triple negative, and she was unable to work. And she was a breadwinner. And it wasn't for Airbnb that supplement my income, I would never be able to keep my home and that I've been living in for 10 years. And I am on the property with my guests all the time. I take care of them, and they love to come and visit. In a very quiet neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you. So if I get Donna and Miriam, please come forward. Please come forward. Donna, or it doesn't matter, just come on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just letting you know that we're putting you all on notice. We're coming to take back California, And Los Angeles County is next, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get rid of Sanctuary State SB 54. Yay! Because we want to return back to the U.S. Constitution where you all take an oath to. Don't forget that, okay? This is America, okay? This is not where we have open borders like Mexico allows people to come in when they don't allow them to come in there. No, all the other countries have the same thing. So, yeah, but that's what's also causing our homelessness and lack of jobs, because we got people coming in that shouldn't be here. Okay, we want people coming in that love our country and make our country great.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. So Donna, you're next. Do I have a Cheryl Freeman?
We need to reopen Van Nuys video conferencing. He thinks so too, so that we can people will be ability to speak on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So anybody over there who wants to have be able to speak more readily, we need to reopen Van Nuys video conferencing that we don't have to go all the way downtown. And we need to worry about the needs of the American citizens and ones who are naturalized and ones who came in illegally with the green card, because there's not enough housing for these people, for everyone. There's not enough medical care for everybody. There's not enough food for everybody. There's not enough buses, water, food. So we need to take care of the American citizens by getting rid of SB number 54 and Special Order 40. We need to get rid of those, and make America great. So I shouldn't actually say make America great again. Make America great for everybody.
Thank you. So if I can get Cheryl Freeman, Natalie Navarro, Vanessa Johnson. Is there a Tho Tran? Yes, identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Cheryl. I'm in Paul Krikorian's district. I'm here for no cap, no fees, no regulations for the Airbnb. I've been a host. I only host the most respectful people for short-term rental, and they all patronize the surrounding areas. Just to let you know, it brings in $40 million in tax revenue. It was supposed to bring in only 13. We have $57 million proposed for homeless people. If we don't have the Airbnb, we could be homeless people too, and you'll be paying for us as well. Also, the hotels have long-term rentals too, which takes away from housing for the property management people like Moss, PAC, LBMP, and that's really what I want to say. Please stop this cap. Please stop. Also, if we have to go speak to our neighbors, we don't know how crazy our neighbors are. They could hurt us.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Vanessa Johnson. I am from District 15. I drove all the way here so I could speak to Councilman Busquiano about the need to keep Airbnb going. I live in my home that I grew up in. I've been there since I was 12 years old, and hosting on Airbnb allows me to maintain and stay in my family's home. I would love to be able to do that, and the only way I'm able to do that is to supplement my Social Security income with Airbnb hosting. Cutting it to 180 days, keeping a cap, or 120 days, really cuts my income significantly. I need to host in order to make enough income to stay in my home. Also, the registration, what we need to do is to make it simple enough for us to be able to.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, good morning. My name is Matt Ventimiglia. I'm a financial educator locally in LA, and I'm a proud resident of Lomita.
Wait, your name is what?
I'm sorry, Matthew Ventimiglia.
Did you hear me say that? No. I didn't call you. No, you didn't hear me call that name. I'm getting to you, but you have to let the people who I call their name, they have to come
Okay.
first. We have to have some order here.
Oh,
so
okay, 'cause we have an order
No, I
to- okay,
I will
I
call your
understand.
name,
Okay.
but I did not call it. So I need Mr. Previn. Stephen Asinski. Candy. Yes, sir. Identify yourself.
Is this general public comment?
It's general
Okay,
public
it's Eric
comment.
Previn from Studio City. And, sir, I know you know, but in California, a punishable conspiracy exists when at least two people form an agreement to commit a crime, and at least one of them does some act in furtherance to committing that crime. So like Martinez telling Sean that he couldn't speak because it was part of a play to make it so that some people couldn't speak. Now, ordinarily, these rights to address the council or the board or whoever are protected by the ACLU, but if you read The Hill, and I know David Rue reads The Hill, there's an article today by Alan Dershowitz, who used to be kind of a very left guy, who is very outraged by the ACLU's behavior in the context of focusing more on getting Trump than the rights of all of us. They will occasionally defend a Klansman or some horrible racist in order to, get the bona fides up, but it's really bad. And I'm asking you, sir, to follow the law.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Thank you. Okay, next speaker. Identify yourself.
Hi, good morning, City Council. My name is Natalie Navarro, and I'm a financial educator locally in the Los Angeles County, and I'm a proud resident of the City of Commerce. Council Member Sotero, I recently worked the full 6 months taking your re-election campaign to victory. Today I am working on a new campaign. As you may know, April is declared Financial Literacy Month, which was recognized in 2004 by Senate Resolution 316. To raise public awareness of the importance of financial education and the serious consequences that may be associated with the lack of understanding about personal finance. 14 years later, these principles are still relevant. The reason I am here today is to share with you about a national campaign for financial literacy to have 1 million families financially educated by 2020. Our organization has helped some of the most underserved communities across North America. We provide free financial classes by an experienced and certified instructor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is Stephen? Is this Stephen? Okay, so after Stephen, if I can now get Matthew, you can come up, and Marie Munsov and Diana Bergamini. Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Nishinsky. I'm a host in CD3, Bob Blumenfield's district. I wanted to just say that I believe the fees are excessive that are being proposed right now for extended stays, having the ability. I mean, I want to realize that there's a lot of expenses. My insurance, I can't even host people without having additional insurance because of my insurance company. There's lots of fees and expenses that build up. And with what you're proposing right now, you're going to cut off a lot of people that just don't have the money to do that. And I wanted to also quickly say, I have a room that I rent. It is not capable of long-term rental. And when you say it's taking them off, there's a lot of us like this that it's not true. And please be considerate.
Yes, sir. Now come forward. Come forward.
I apologize. My name is Matt Ventimiglia. I'm also an advocate for this National Financial Literacy Campaign. I would like to share with you this book called Saving Your Future for your consideration. This book is printed in many languages and over 1 million copies distributed. It's available in Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, as well as English. According to recent surveys, North Americans are facing serious challenges. The U.S. picture is even gloomier. 33%, or more than 77 million Americans, do not pay their bills on time. 39% carry credit card debt from month to month. Only 59% of adults say they have savings. It's ironic that we live in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but we always have money problems. We can work hard all our lives, but retire poor. We do so much to raise our kids just to see them finish college with a lot of debt. Debt becomes a way of life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. Next, please come forward and identify yourself.
Good morning. My name is Marie Monsalve, and I'm also an advocate for financial literacy. We don't have much and we don't know much. Nobody teaches us about how to manage our money in school. Financial issues are not discussed, and financial products are never explained. Most people have trouble just balancing their checkbook or reading a financial statement. We use credit cards every day, but we don't understand all of the charges. We buy insurance policies and then we stick them in the file cabinet, never to be seen again. We contribute to our retirement account and hope and pray someday someone will take care of it. We all want to have comfortable retirements, but few of us have a plan. We may be active spenders, but we are definitely passive savers. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. And if I can get the next speaker plus Rami Bergamini and Tim Valhos.
His name is Bergamini.
Mr. Spindler, don't start. Okay, that's a warning. Do not disrupt this meeting. Yes, ma'am, welcome.
Hi, my name is Diana Bergamini, and I'm happy to have Mike Bonin as my representative in the Mar Vista area. And my husband and I have lived in our home for 35 years. I'm 67, he's 73, and we were forced into retirement with a extremely awful auto accident that we were fortunate to live on our income and our savings for 10 years, and it dwindled. We then got Social Security, which is not much, and I don't mind telling you folks, it's $1,600 a month. Our property insurance is $700 a month. Just yesterday and the day before, we had unexpected car trouble, $650, and eyeglasses and Airbnb supplies at Costco. It was a $2,000 day that if we didn't have Airbnb, we would not survive on $1,600 a month in our Social Security. He's not.
Thank you.
Thank
Next
you.
speaker. Yes, sir.
Hi there. My name is Romy Bergamini. I'd like to say hi to Mr. Bonin. He's my representative as well. We're a five-star hosts in Mar Vista. I'm here to address the reason the person who wants to charge me $1,000 a year so that I can rent out one room in my house for 120 days. This rents out for an average of about $65 a night that we have. This means that for 15 days of the guest days, I do not get a dime, but I still have to pay for my utilities and my insurance. The councilman also now wants to charge me $2,500 a year for 2 years, accounting to $5,000 that I can rent this room out for, an additional 120 days during this year. That does not guarantee that we would have guests staying there all those days, so my losses will actually be tremendous. And when you add all these extra fees up, the councilman wants to impose, they would amount to about $7,000 for 2 years. My property taxes are $7,000 a year. In breaking this all down, I'd have to rent my room out for 75 days for free.
Thank you. Next, please. And is there a Wits Gray in the audience? Riley Taylor, again, Candy, and a Tran. Yes, identify yourself.
Yes, my name is Tim Vlahos. I live in Los Feliz. Councilmember Rue is my council member. First, I want to commend Councilmember Rue for passing or proposing the ordinance which addresses the party houses, which I think is going to solve a big part of the opposition to Airbnb in Los Angeles. I also want to share with you an experience I had a couple times in the last year. I contacted every single home sharer that I could identify in Los Feliz trying to find a housekeeper that I could also use. What I discovered was maybe 80 to 90% of the home sharers in Los Feliz, this is an affluent neighborhood, are cleaning their own homes. People are not making tons of money because they're greedy on Airbnb. They're doing it to stay in their houses to survive. Just like I am doing. I've been doing it for 9 years. I've been paying taxes the whole 9 years, 14%, collecting it the whole time. Please get off our backs and let us do it.
Next speaker, identify yourself.
Hi, good morning. My name is Morelli Taylor. I live in Palcaquarians District, and so I'm a simple-minded, hardworking, stay-at-home mom. I have a little 2-year-old named Madeline Schuyler. She's my Mad Sky. And, I had a hard enough time trying to figure out how to follow the steps towards sharing my home. So please don't make it more difficult to go through all these steps to get there. I love living in Los Angeles. When we bought our home a year ago, we bought it from people who already were renting the guest house in the back, and they had no problems with any of the neighbors. When we bought the house, my husband's father had a heart attack and a quadruple bypass. We just had water pipes burst. All kinds of troubles happen while you're living life, and Airbnb has provided an opportunity for us to be able to make it through those hard times. I advocate for all the local businesses around town, and I am a great super host. We've never had a problem. Please help us continue to help Los Angeles.
Thank you. So did we get, did Heather Blair come, or was that Lisa Myers? Please come forward. Again, a Mr. or Mrs. Tran, somebody named Candy, Witz Gray, and somebody with the last name Hayes or Haynes. Just please get in line, come forward. Yes, ma'am, identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Lisa Myers, and I'm in Paul Correrian's district. I'm a host for 4 years, and I'm a super host. I started hosting because I have a special needs child, and I also now have my brother-in-law who has no insurances and has a severe case of cancer. The 120 days will greatly affect us. I take pride in hosting, and I give a safe and pleasant stay. Notifying my neighbors who are rude, play loud music for all hours, and have parties on weekends and have no regard for their neighbors, leaves me with no recourse, as they own their house as I do, but because they're owners, they don't have to notify me of any such parties and rudeness. So I respectfully want to continue doing Airbnb, and please, with these restrictions and fees and everything that everybody else has mentioned statistically, please do not do this so I can respectfully support my family, which also the woman who helps me with my son subsequently has now offered to help me cleaning the unit for me that I rent out because she's a widow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if I can get Mr. Herman, followed by Mr. Spindler.
Witz Gray. I'll tell you, Witz Gray, when you watch the video and see Mr. Englander walk up to Wayne Spindler, an Encino critic, and threaten him and I to shut up, I am not going to shut up. This is a pattern and practice by you dibble dwarf. Acts of omission, retaliating against an individual who's disabled. I'm disabled. You want to challenge me? Here I am. Big cocksucker. That's retaliation. It needs to stop. I have a right to engage in constitutional protected expression and speech under the First Amendment, my Fourth Amendment, my Fifth Amendment, and the right not to bear arms because I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. Because fools like you don't protect the public, like we've seen on our streets, of homelessness. So when you get your shit together, Herman, and do your job with that other asshole, Garcetti, help the homeless get off the streets. $1.2 billion
Thank
you haven't done.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler.
So for the record, the homosexual Mitchell Englander has again threatened me and threatened to remove me from this room for doing nothing. So let's talk about current price. I remember a couple of years ago at your press conference, Herb, he said Mr. Spindler should be made an example out of. All right, well, the rest of you better take notice. When somebody calls me out and they're not hiding behind 50 cops and government authority and FBI agents and state CHP agents, and they face me face to face, they bow their fucking head to me and show me the respect I'm accorded. Otherwise, they don't. So, congratulations on his divorce. After 2006, he filed the first one. And finally, where's the City Ethics Commission on the 19 violations of fraud on his form disclosures?
Thank you. Thank you. Were there any other public speakers that I didn't? Oh, here, come, Miss, come. No, Candido, no. You already spoke. No. We can't engage. You're disrupting. Yes.
Good morning.
My name is To Tran, and I'm also an advocate for this national financial literacy campaign that we bring to the city of Los Angeles today. I would like to end with the support of the previous speeches to read a couple of excerpts from a letter from Governor Jerry Brown last year in support of financial literacy. Let us all take time to increase our knowledge of our finances and encourage our friends and family to do the same. I encourage Californians to take advantage of the free resources, including seminars and workshops, classroom presentation, online services, and educational materials. Learn how to better manage money, investment, credit, and debt, avoid financial scams and fraud. By empowering Californians with the knowledge and tools they need to help them make critical decisions, including financing higher education, buying a home, starting a business, and saving for retirement, we're investing in a brighter and more successful future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to go to Ms. Martinez with item, was it 8? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I wanted to bring this motion, the significant motion today, because we are in a process. First of all, I know Mr. Buscaino stepped away, but I wanted to congratulate him and his community. Between Mr. Buscaino, Ms. Rodriguez, and myself, and Mr. Harris Dawson, our communities applied for a Strategic Growth Council grant called Transformative Climate Communities. And I want to congratulate Mr. Buscaino and the community of Watts for being able to be awarded the grant. Unfortunately, what it initially did was it pitted Burton communities against each other, and there's only one winner at the end of this grant process. But what worried me the most is that all our communities combined can use this money. It's not only certain sections of South LA that have to deal with environmental justice issues, or Pacoima or Sun Valley or the communities of Watts, but I think we're all in it together. And the one thing that makes our communities so beautiful is that we're not about complaining, we're about making things happen and finding solutions for some of the issues that unfortunately have not been solved over decades and decades and decades of environmental justices in our communities. So TCC isn't over. We have an opportunity to go back for round 2. So this motion, essentially what it does is that it asks Sacramento to continue to fund this grant at the same or increased levels, and to ensure that every single dollar that makes its way comes back to communities like ours to be able to make amends for the decades of injustices that residents have endured over the decades. So what this motion does is essentially just ask Sacramento to continue to fund this program. We continue to have communities who need the money desperately to make amends for years and years of injustices. And it just makes sure that Los Angeles isn't forgotten, and we have another opportunity to go back and ask for more money. And that's essentially what it does. And it recognizes that all of our significant communities have a need and continue to have a need, and that we're all in it together as Los Angeles, and we want to make sure Sacramento understands that and continues to fund this program.
Thank you.
I ask for your vote.
Mr. Buscaino, did you want to speak on this item as well?
Yes, if I may. Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to recognize Ms. Martinez for leading this effort in the support position. What we've learned from this last go-around and funding source, that yes, Watts was the beneficiary of this last TCC grant, but it really bothered me and other members of this horseshoe that we had to compete within the city with qualified applications. So we have learned in the other 2 cities, I believe it was Fresno and Ontario, that they, in our meetings with the Southern California Associations of Government, SCAG, that they were also, it was beneficial for them to have one application. So I think lessons learned moving forward is let's work together as a city so that we're not competing against each other, because that process, quite frankly, as much as we benefited from it, stunk. So we're hopeful that we move forward, and as we continue to apply for these grant dollars, that we put our heads together and work collectively alongside the mayor and our representatives in Sacramento, because we do have impacted disadvantaged communities, impacted environmental disadvantaged impact communities throughout the city of Los Angeles. So thanks, Nuri, for leading this effort, and let's continue to ensure that these programs are funded. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Buscaino, I just want to say and convey to you on behalf of me and I think all of us here on the City Council, congratulations to the community of Watts. We're really happy for you, and let's continue to work together. Thank you.
Okay, let's, on that item, if you'd open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Buscaino, let's deal with item 1.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. So, colleagues, earlier this week in Trade, Travel, and our Tourism Committee, we unanimously supported Mayor Garcetti's appointment of Ms. Jamie Lee to the Board of Harbor Commissioners. I asked that Ms. Lee come forward and introduce herself, and we heard from Ms. Lee her qualifications in the T3 committee, and just based on her testimony in committee, I am so excited about this appointment. I want to thank Mayor Garcetti for bringing forth this appointment, and it's fitting that we are here in the Valley. Jamie was born here in the Valley, and the fact that, yes, we know that the Port of Los Angeles is an economic engine for this entire region, but as much as it has an impact in our jobs in the port communities here in the Valley, has taken a benefit as well of the economy and the goods movement and the jobs. So I'm happy to have Ms. Lee here. Give us I want to present her an opportunity to tell her a little about herself and share with the council here on why you feel that you're qualified for this position and why you want to take this role on.
Thank you very much, Councilman Buscaino. Is this on?
You're on, yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, President Wesson. Good morning, distinguished council members. It is truly an honor to be here today. As Councilmember Buscaino mentioned, I was born right here in Van Nuys at Valley Presbyterian Hospital, born and raised in Los Angeles, stayed to attend the University of Southern California for both my undergraduate degree and my law degree. My parents started a commercial real estate company about 25 years ago. They are immigrants from Korea, medical professionals, began investing in commercial real estate in the Koreatown district after the civil unrest of the LA riots, and have really seen that community blossom and grow. As I attended school in Los Angeles, I always worked for this business, have gotten many, many years in that organization. And as a result of that, and a property that we had in the Los Angeles Fashion District, had the opportunity to serve on the Los Angeles Fashion District Business Improvement District Board. And as chair of that board, was able to work in conjunction with CD14 to form a private-public partnership for clean and safe efforts in that district. As we can see now, all areas of downtown are thriving. As a result of that experience, I wanted to serve more. In 2010, I was appointed to the Quality and Productivity Commission for the City of Los Angeles, later the Industrial Development Authority, and for the last 4 years, I've been serving as board president and commissioner on the Los Angeles City Employees Retirement System. On that board, which is a phenomenal opportunity and great responsibility as a fiduciary to the plan and to all of the current and retired members of the City of Los Angeles. I always prided myself on being a moderate voice on that board, always able to see both sides of every issue, always able to manage discussion and allow the board to come to a consensus, to speak with one voice. And there were many complex issues that we faced over the years. I know I've been before this council on many occasions, but I feel like that experience has really primed me for this opportunity. I'm humbled and honored to serve in this capacity and really look forward to getting to know very well a new neighborhood of Los Angeles, as I've lived in 7 different zip codes in the city of Los Angeles over the years.
Thanks, JB. Colleagues, you've heard me countless times here that we haven't seen so much commercial development on the waterline in the LA waterfront than we're experiencing now. So I want to hear from you. As much as I know you talked about in committee, you value the importance of trade. You value the importance of the environment and being a good neighbor to the port communities. You also value the importance of our labor workforce as well. On the commercial development piece, where do you see the port moving forward, say in the next 3 to 5 years, as it relates to retail, dining, entertainment along the waterfront in Wilmington and San Pedro?
Yes, as we discussed, all of these factors and intricate different pieces of the port life come together. However, we are seeing still lots of underutilized areas of the 4,300 acres of port land. Because of that, we're seeing greater investment from the Port of Los Angeles into co-investing with developers to help bring more dining, retail, increase tourism dollars, increase visitors, as well as residents. The Ports of Call is a $150 million redevelopment for the San Pedro Public Market. The Port of Los Angeles is contributing $50 million to that effort. That I was able to see the demolition that's occurring last week. I'm really looking forward to working with the developer and all of the exciting tenants that he will bring to that area. On top of that, there's new multifamily development occurring in the district as well as public improvement projects like the Wilmington Waterfront project, parks, fields, beautiful space for the neighborhood to enjoy and to allow the local citizens to thrive.
And also bringing, exchanging not only goods but also ideas with AltaSea. Right. Your thoughts on the importance and the impacts of AltaSea as a marine research campus?
I had the opportunity to attend the AltaSea event. Was that last week?
Last week, right.
Phenomenally impressive, but the goal there is so aspirational and so fantastic. We have been talking about SpaceX taking space at the port in order to help its launch missions. But while Americans have consistently been enamored with space, I think that the oceans are a far vaster, untapped resource which is accessible to us through research to see how we can build sustainable platforms to harness those resources, and that will occur at AltaSea with 23 different universities coming together to perform research there in state-of-the-art labs, and it's really exciting for the port to be part of that project as well.
Thank you, Ms. Lee, for taking on this role, and it's a massive responsibility, and I'm so happy that Mayor Garcetti has put forth this recommendation. I encourage colleagues to support this recommendation. I also want to recognize the reason why Ms. Lee's in front of us. Ambassador Vilma Martinez resigned and stepped down. I do want to recognize Ambassador Martinez for her leadership and commitment to the port. And under her watch, alongside Jean Soroka, America's Port Director, she was able to put forth, with her colleagues on the commission, a commercial real estate policy that is really driven the interest and the investment on the commercial development side. And if you are working alongside Jean, will continue to be America's #1 port with the efficiencies and being that #1 neighbor on reducing emissions and also embracing the labor force there. So with that, I do want to recognize Mr. Soroka couldn't be with us today. However, he was with us in T3 earlier this week. The executive team, government relations team who's here with us, Marla Blevins, Mike DiBernardo, Tony Giallo, as well as David Libatique and Marcella Carbala, who's here, colleagues. So thank you. You're surrounded by a community that supports us, the team, the executive team, but also I think also it's fitting that we recognize you are an emerging leader in the Korean American community, and we haven't had a Korean American sit on this commission for a long time, so we are really excited about this confirmation and appointment by Mayor Garcetti, and we're looking forward to working alongside you. Thanks for taking this on.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Let us, Mr. Rue.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. President, I would be remiss if I did not stand for my friend and fellow Korean American, but it is very impressive everything you've accomplished and everything that you've done, and very much look forward to you serving on the Harbor Commission, not just as a Korean American and Asian American, but as a woman and who brings such a wide array of experience, and look forward to all your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's get this thing done. With that said, let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Unanimous vote. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Very much.
Okay, let us recess this hearing and move into the special meeting. So we'll recess this meeting, move into the special. You want to call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Heristasen, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson, 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay. So in this, we have items 9, 10, and 11. We can vote on item 9. So if we would have that before us, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you. So now we do have some speaker requests on items 10 and 11. I'm going to start off with Candido.
And Mr. President, yes, items 10 and 11 are items for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, they're before us. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I was not being disrespectful last time. I just wanted to make a point that this is what I wanted to talk on this item. I support the 44-unit funding. I don't know who's going to move into it. I don't know if they're going to be first Americans, second Americans. But, I love Donna and Miriam. But, I get a little tired when other people, listen, my family came in 1598. First born here was in 1610. Jamestown was founded in 1607. So Miriam and Donna came after me, but yet we welcomed them. The people that were there welcomed them. Why don't we just start trying to be nicer to each other, try to welcome each other? Yes, we have problems. Let's fix those problems, but let's stop name-calling and dividing. I love Miriam and Donna. Donna, I'll buy you lunch, and you and Miriam, if we can just talk about this. But let's stop calling each other names. It's time to join and become one nation again. Greatest city in the greatest country, sir.
Thank you.
Word, I love you.
Candido, do you want to take your minute on item 11 right now as well? You did 10. Do you want to speak on 11? It's. What's 11? Well, let me call up then Miriam. I can't. Miriam, come forward. Miriam, you're going to have to stay on topic. These items 10 and 11. Donna, you're next.
Well, let me tell you something. That's what it is. It is related to the topic. I'm sorry. But sanctuary, we don't want no sanctuary state. We want our citizens to be housed in this 44 unit. We don't want people who are out, who are not Americans, okay? We want no sanctuary state, no SB 54. Thank you.
Okay, Candido, please. I understand your passion, but we got to control it.
Okay.
Yes.
What we're for, we want to have on the housing, we want people to have the not criminals. We're going against the ones that are not criminals, and that's why we're not for a sanctuary state. We want to be able to have law-abiding people that live here and abide by the rules, whoever they may be. So then it's okay to no sanctuary state.
Thank you. Okay, if I could get Mr. Previn on items 10 and 11, followed by Mr. Gus. And please stay on the items.
Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from CD2. I live in Studio City, and obviously item number 11 is in our district. It's we're having a multifamily housing revenue bonds are being sought to finance the acquisition and rehabilitation of something like 70 units, and I think it's called the Harmony Gates. It's a 70-unit multifamily. Looks fantastic. There was a TEFRA hearing. Now, the way TEFRA hearings work, sir, I think you know those are the hearings at which they're mandated by the IRS, and the idea is people have a chance to weigh in, and they're a requirement. Now, CDO knows all about these. On March 7th, you noticed one for March 21. But I couldn't see it on the March 21 agenda, so I'm assuming that they're on some other agenda. I looked at all the agendas. Now, this could be one of those, whoa, we made a mistake, but I would just ask the clerk and the city attorney to focus on that, and maybe we could do a PRA, and you could provide a document that shows that there actually was one, just so that we're all on terra firma there. Item number 10, congratulations to Martinez, who has a little inlet in Rodriguez's district out near San Fernando and Strathern, and sure enough, near a post office, 44 units coming up. And sir, you'll be happy to hear it's ACOF, or a community of friends, a lovely group that has widespread low-income housing all over Southern California. Like Jameson, although Jameson is not necessarily low-income, and that I'm speaking about Ms. Lee, obviously, who is heir to that whole team.
Stay on the
great.
subject.
They're doing a great job. So, largest in Southern California. But, sir, this one is 36 low-income units, 6 very low-income, and then I think 2 permanent spot. Yet they did get $8 million in HHH funding, I understand, Bloomingfield, so this is great. Now, the whole project is about $20 million, and it raises the big concern that most of us have, which is if it's going to cost near $500,000 a unit, we're going to be working on this for a very long time. So we have to find a way to accomplish those tiny homes. I know Buscaino was an enemy of the tiny home a couple years ago, but hopefully we can
Thank you,
reconsider that.
Mr.
And
Previn.
check out
Thank you.
Gail Holland's
Mr.
article.
Previn, thank you. Okay, if we could get Mr. Gus, after Mr. Gus, we'll get Mr. Spindler. Yes, sir.
Council members, first of all, I'm glad you're having these two items today, and I would encourage you to move your cultural celebrations. I'll make it relevant, Streppen. Please move your cultural celebrations to Thursdays and Saturdays until these issues are not only addressed but solved. You squander far too much time on fun, frivolous, cultural issues instead of putting these life and death, quality of life issues front and center. The problem with this issue is that you're treating the symptom and not the cause of the problem. The rent stabilization ordinance applies to all houses or rental units built on or before October 1st, 1978. Let me save you tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Change the damn RSO. Change it from October 1st, 1978. Move it to October 1st, 1988. You will have a sudden stop, a sudden finger in the dam of the problem that's causing the need for these items. Change the RSO and you'll stop the tidal wave that's causing the need for item 10, item 11. You'll save hundreds of millions of dollars. You will prevent people from becoming homeless. You will ease the desperate need that you find yourself in now. And you can do it. You're the people who make the law. Change the RSO. You'll get a lot more good publicity than bad publicity. You know how much I love you. Change the RSO. Change it to October 1st, 1988, and all of a sudden, you folks will be doing the right thing across the board, apart from a small number of landlords.
Thank you. Thank you. So if I can get, where's Mr. Spindler? And after you, Mr. Spindler, Mr. Murphy. Yes, sir.
All right. Fried chicken. So we got something. Oh, CD6. Tax equity bonds. Finally. $14.6 million for Van Nuys, Ratner Street, something called the Casa de Sol, and of course they use a name in Spanish to honor Miriam and Donna. So good job. Yes, we are going to house illegal aliens in this project, but I went ahead, they asked me, Wayne, can we house illegal aliens in this project? And I said, absolutely, because my
Let's get on the subject. Let's get on the subject, Mr. Spindler.
Okay, because my good friends in the city family understand that federal tax dollars can go to anything you want. There is immunity. They can't be sued. You can't be sued. There's absolute 11th Amendment immunity. Once you get these federal dollars, you can do it. You can make a parking garage. It doesn't matter. So good job. Now we get to CD2. And that would be Krikorian. I don't want Krikorian getting these funds. Paul Krikorian is invading CD6 and taking funds away from us and giving it to his district. Just look at the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council meeting Wednesday. He's stealing money from Nuri Martinez for affordable housing projects. Stop Paul Krikorian from stealing Nuri Martinez's housing funds. I want an investigation into this. Give this money to CD6. Nuri, good job fighting for the homeless.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, followed by Mr. Herman.
Yes, we need to solve the homeless crisis in L.A. It's getting out of hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Herman. Start his time.
Like Jim Morrison there for a moment. So what is the pattern in practice with That is to change the RSO. That's what the Gus Watch News was talking about. We must stop and change the RSO to effectively communicate for more multifamily housings. And yes, Miriam is right. Illegal immigrants need to go through the 11th Amendment and get an immigration lawyer that can defend your rights to live in my fucked up country that leaves me homeless. In addition to that, City Clerk has scheduled and placed a next available City Council agenda without going through the so-called Physical Responsibility Act, which fall under the Safe Street Act that you fucking fools don't go by. In addition to neither the city administrator nor the chief legislative analyst to complete a financial analyst report. Now, on item 11, shouldn't say that, that's a threat. But we're talking about insurance of multifamily housing, right? What insurance? What insurance when you got $1.2 billion could be added to this condition of multifamily to take every person who's homeless that's an American first off the goddamn street and place them in a home. In addition to that, accompanying a resolution approving the purpose section of $10,350,000 in a multifamily housing revenue bonds, I'm against those bonds. And why am I against those bonds? Because the majority of the time we need an audit. And that audit would satisfy whether or not you're spending dollar to dollar and matching funds for funds to complete the projects within a time manner, not to steal and fraud and abuse and waste fucking money.
Thank
assholes.
you. Thank you. All right, that concludes public comment on these items. Let's prepare to vote. Madam Clerk, please open. Miriam, please sit down. You're disrupting. No, sit down. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's adjourn the special, return to the regular.
And excuse me, Mr. President, there is a request from a member to send item 11 forthwith.
Okay, without objection. Okay, what's before this body?
Council has motions for posting and
Okay, they're
referral.
posted. Referred. Announcements, members. If we could all rise. All rise. Do we have any adjourning motions? I'm looking to my right, Mr. Rue's side. I don't see any to my right. Mr. Englander.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, earlier today, we had the honor of recognizing some local heroes. Today, I ask, though, that we adjourn. After we quiet council chambers, I'm not going to do this for a hero that's put his life on the line to save us and our country, while these guys are making noises, disrupting the meeting, disrupting adjourning motions. And so, Mr. President, if you could please ask them to leave, and I'm going to wait until they're escorted out.
Well, you know what, Mr. Englander, I want you to continue. They're not going to make a sound.
The U.S. Army officer Kent Kilgore passed away on Thursday, April 5th, 2018. Kent was an avid member of Wings Over Wendy's and enjoyed telling stories about his time as an 81 millimeter mortar wireman and the 96th Infantry Division during World War II. Kent was born in Duluth, Minnesota on September 5th, 1923. Spent his childhood in Salina, Kansas, where he survived the ravages of the Dust Bowl. After high school graduation, Kent began working with his dad. In 1942, jobs were scarce, so he moved to Glendale, California, and found a job at Lockheed Aircraft, building P-38 aircrafts and operating an 8-foot shear. He was drafted soon after and served as an Army corporal. Most knew Kent to have an incredible mind and a big heart. Those that had the opportunity to hear his stories also saw his scars on his upper right arm and his left arm, where he was shot during the battle at Hacksaw Ridge in Okinawa. After he recovered from his injuries, he continued his service and was assigned to a combat unit in the Philippines. Several fellow soldiers credited Kent with saving their lives. Staying in touch Throughout their lifetimes, Kent also served as a sapien in other engagements in the Pacific. He returned home with several medals, including Purple Heart, a presidential citation with 2 Bronze Stars, Philippine Liberation Award, World War II Victory Medal, and a Good Conduct Medal. He returned to Los Angeles, where he met and married Mary McMullen. Kent and Mary raised 2 sons, and he's always said that supporting his family was his most important duty. He attended Los Angeles Community College, then continued to the University of Southern California. With a degree in psychology, he chose to become an elementary school teacher and taught at many elementary schools throughout the San Fernando Valley for 32 years. If that weren't enough, he was also a mover for Beacons during his summer breaks, just so he can give more to his family. Later in life, Kent married Bonnie Tompkins. Kent continued to teach and volunteer into his late 80s. Throughout his life, he enjoyed calligraphy, reading, and any party. He walked daily, even with the advancement of throat cancer. Kent is survived by his sons, Kent and Scott, his daughters-in-law, Diane and Denise, stepchildren, Andy, Laura, Carrie, and Robert, and his grandchildren, Brandy, Matt, Eric, Jason, Brendan, Casey, Jamie, Heather, Julie, Shauna, and Eric. The family greatly appreciates the support and prayers, and in lieu of flowers, the family requests that any donations be made to the Gold Coast Veterans Foundation in Kent's honor. Kent's photo's up on the screen, and I had the honor to spend several conversations with him and meet him several times over at Wings Over Wendy's. He would also join the Heroes Network, where living life legends would be able to go out to schools and teach them about their experiences in the war and what happened. It seems every couple weeks now, we're having more and more and more adjourning motions in honor of survivors of World War II. And they're becoming much more frequent. And it's very sad. He was a local hero that taught me so much, but taught so many so much, and put his life on the line for us, and raised a great family and came back here to do that and leave us a better place than he found it. So may the angels shine upon his life, his legacy, and may he rest in peace. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Englander. Are there any other adjourning motions to my left? Members, this meeting's adjourned.
At Home Depot, within the distribution center, we have about 275 orange-blooded associates. We bleed orange. Orange is our color for the Home Depot. We are actually the #1 do-it-yourself or DIY importer, and we are the #3 importer in the U.S. How we, the Stocking Distribution Center, fits within the supply chain is our merchandise primarily comes from overseas. It hits the port of LA. We go ahead and inbound that merchandise For the most part, it goes into inventory, being that we are seasonal. We then process that product, we pick it, and then we load it up into the trailer destined for that store. So we're essentially kind of the hub in between our vendor as well as our stores. The Ontario, Miraloma, Fontana, Rialto area gives us close proximity to the port in terms of getting our freight on time. And then it also, from a density standpoint, puts us in a great position to service our market in California and then the surrounding states, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, and so forth. Spring is actually the heavy season for us. Coming out of winter, there are a lot of do-it-yourself projects, spring cleaning, people getting ready for the summer, barbecue grills, patio covers, air conditioners, fans getting ready for the summer heat. We have just under 3 million square feet in our campus. However, we still walk. It's important because we want that intimate interaction with our associates versus driving around on a golf cart or a bicycle. My first priority is to make sure that we've got the right team in place to service our 257 stores. Definitely like to spend time with my family. Once football comes around, it is a football household. Now on Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. I enjoy mentoring, I enjoy teaching, I enjoy seeing people achieve their goals. At the Home Depot, while it's a warehouse, I actually get to do that on a daily basis. At the end of the day, I can't do it without my team. Having the right people on board is critical, and then just making sure that they clearly understand the expectations and then have the right training and resources to be able to be successful.
Myself, and cotton reusable bags. I like the feel better. I like the way they fold up better.
I keep about 10 reusable bags in my trunk everywhere I go, and I also keep a smaller bag that wraps up into a ball and I can just fit in my purse. So that way, wherever I go, if it's a supermarket covered by the policy, or even if it's a retailer that's not covered by the policy, I can make a positive change in my shopping decisions. We've seen plastic bag bans throughout the world. Here in California, we have over 100 municipalities that have implemented single-use plastic bag bans. And there's a statewide proposal, AB 270, which is taking this single-use plastic bag ban and applying it statewide. We see Los Angeles a leader on this issue, and we hope that this triggers people's thinking on just becoming more sustainable and doing more reusable products for everything that they use, whether it's a water bottle or a reusable bag.
Take your own cup to the barista. Take your own doggy bag to the restaurant. Do something for the environment. Do something for yourself. Now we're being driven by climate change and by plastic pollution, two very big pollution problems that are going to require international cooperation and change on a global level. The time is now.
Have some mo fun with some mochi. Be sure to take the Metrolink to LA Union Station so that you can easily transfer to fun places like Little Tokyo. Once you get to LA Union Station, find tracks 1 and 2 for the Metro Gold Line. Remember that if you have a Metrolink ticket with a TAP logo, you must tap to access Metro Rail turnstiles. Be sure to take the Metro Gold Line south toward Atlantic. The train will arrive shortly. Once you get on, make sure to get off at the first exit for the Little Tokyo Arts District. Exit the train and proceed to exit towards Alameda and 1st Street. From there, you can get to the Japanese American National Museum by going across the street on First. We're here at the Japanese American National Museum, where they promote understanding and appreciation of America's ethnic and cultural diversity by sharing the Japanese American experience. Across the street from the museum, you'll find Little Tokyo. Here we are in Little Tokyo. Not only is Little Tokyo an historical focal point, there's also a lot of exciting things to see and eat. Be sure to check out the Higashi Honganji Buddhist Temple, located on Omar and 3rd Street. The temple promotes the teachings of Jodo Shinshu and is a beautiful example of Japanese architecture and landscaping. When you utilize Metrolink and public transportation, you can have more fun because you can go to more places.
Hi, my name's Louie and I'm at Pan Pacific Park and you're watching LA City View 35. It's our city, it's our channel.
In LA this week,
Senator Dianne Feinstein returning to her home state of California, and more specifically here in the city of Los Angeles, to try and revive her federal ban on assault weapons, which expired in 2004. I'm Gil Reyes for the story next.
Mayor Garcetti is hands-on when it comes to hiring more women police officers and firefighters. More on this recruitment event coming up.
The grand reopening of a center is giving seniors in this community something to smile about. I'm Rasha Goel, and that story's up next.
Hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yana Kay. LA already has some of the strictest gun laws anywhere. So why is the LA City Attorney going out of his way to support tougher gun laws in other states? The answer is our safety here in LA. Gil Reyes has more.
At UCLA Medical Center, Senator Dianne Feinstein stood with victims of gun violence, drumming up support for a proposed federal ban on assault weapons. This followed youth marches nationwide demanding stricter gun laws. Marches inspired by a school shooting in Florida that killed 17 people.
You have young children saying to their parents, "Daddy, I'm scared. I don't want to go to school." And the Congress of the United States does nothing. Well, we're going to do something.
Senator Feinstein had authored the first federal ban on assault weapons, which was in effect from 1994 to 2004. Since then, gun control advocates have tried several times to revive it. All of those times have failed, but the hope is that the aftermath of the Florida shooting will change all that. California already has some of the toughest gun laws in the nation, enforcing a ban on assault weapons and following up with a gun violence restraining law that allows courts to seize firearms from people they believe to be unsafe. The city of Los Angeles also has a safe storage law that requires guns to be locked away or disabled at home when not in use. LA City Attorney Mike Feuer says measures like these are why California has fewer mass shootings overall compared to other states with looser rules. But he is concerned about firearms from outside coming into our area.
There was a proposal, and it's still pending, that passed the House that would allow anyone with a concealed carry permit from any place in the country to go to any other state and legally have a concealed weapon. How dangerous is that? Here in California, there are strict standards to get a concealed weapon. In Arizona, you don't even need a permit.
Feuer says tougher federal laws would further protect Los Angeles and the rest of the country. I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
So far, Feinstein's federal bill has 29 members of the Senate supporting, none of them Republican. Turning now to the threat of deportation, it hangs like a dark cloud over thousands of Angelenos. The president's order to end temporary protected status has local leaders searching for solutions before time is up. Gil Reyes has more from City Hall.
The program is called Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, and it has allowed refugees from disaster and war-torn nations to remain in the U.S. until problems in their homelands improve. President Trump has decided to end the program for several nations, many say prematurely, forcing recipients to possibly leave soon or to hide.
They'll be fearful to report crime. They won't seek medical attention when it's needed.
Outside City Hall, the city's immigrant advocate Peter Shea says LA's overall health and public safety could be compromised. Temporary protected status for Nicaraguans is expected to expire this January. For Haitians, in July 2019. For Salvadorans, the clock is also ticking. Immigration raids at home could follow.
Now, the hope is these forced departures and deportations can be avoided. Shea says a lawsuit is in the works, with the City of LA's support challenging the end of TPS. He also says lawyers are working on legal documents, protections that TPS recipients could show to federal agents at the door, informing them of the rights.
First they came after our dreamers, then the Haitians, Nicaraguans, Salvadorians, and now all of California.
LA City Councilman Curran Price referring to the Trump administration's new lawsuit against the state. The suit claims California is illegally protecting undocumented immigrants from federal deportations. Councilman Gilbert Cedillo disagrees.
We have the strength of the U.S. Constitution, and so we will continue here in the city of Los Angeles and the state of California to continue to resist those efforts.
I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Now, there's also hope Congress can agree on a pathway to citizenship for TPS recipients before their residencies expire. Say you're a victim of a crime. Did you know the government can help pay for your medical and relocation costs if you qualify? On this National Crime Victims' Rights Week, we shine a light on a somewhat obscure program that's grown locally and online. Gil Reyes has more from the LAPD's Van Nuys Police Station. Gil.
Yes, Yana, very important information for victims of all sorts of crime, from domestic violence to sexual assault. They now have an advocate set up here through the LA City Attorney's Office at every single LAPD station, and they can apply for these free services online.
For sex crime victims, the walk up to an LAPD station to request legal and financial help can be difficult.
Many times either the victims are embarrassed or they're just afraid because they've never been a victim of a crime before. They don't know what to expect.
The city attorney's Victim Assistance Program has been helping victims for nearly 4 decades get back on their feet.
I've worked with sexual assault victims, child sexual assault. I've worked with attempted murders. Most of them are fearful. Most of them are afraid that the defendant's going to come after them. So you have to be just very compassionate.
Ifunaya Guacham is one of the advocates now assigned to all 21 LAPD stations since March. She'll help walk you through the application process for victim compensation. It's funded by the state. Domestic violence and sexual assault victims can receive up to $2,000 in relocation fees, compensation for funeral and burial costs, up to $7,500. Medical and dental bills may be covered too.
People don't know that we're here. A lot of people don't know that they can get these services. So many people have bills and collections that they can't pay.
Victims can make appointments through the website or by using the newly launched mobile app.
Use the system. You go to helpLACrimeVictims.org. You'll be able to pull up our website, get information about our program, and put in a request for assistance to meet with one of our victim advocates in one of those locations. Search for Victim Assistance on Google Play or the iTunes Store. You'll be able to see our app and download it for free.
I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Appointments online or through the app can put you in touch with an advocate within 24 hours. A giant recruitment fair at the mayor's Getty House as Mayor Eric Garcetti seeks to fill more police and firefighter positions with women. Anna Marcos was there and has the story.
These young women are trying on LA firefighter gear for fun, but recruiting, training, and inducting them into the ranks of the LA Fire Department and LAPD is serious business, as city leaders work to attract more women into these jobs. This mega recruitment event is one of Garcetti's many efforts to bring more women into traditionally male-dominated police and firefighter jobs. The LAPD is seeing 10% of its academy classes filled with women, and female recruitment in the fire department has shot up by 40%. Among the eager candidates, young women in the police and fire cadet programs.
I learned how to be more disciplined, not only in the program, but around my community and within my house.
And your school?
Yes. You get to actually be in that that building that's on fire, and while other people are scared and everything, and they train you to remain calm and just do what you have to do. We have to wear all of our gear, which is our turnout gears, our SCBA, and sometimes we have to carry ladders or forcible entry tools. Like, they may not look heavy, but when you're walking, like at least like over a block or two, you're like, wow, like this is like weight.
The city has launched a new effort, the Pledge to Patrol program. It's a bridge between the cadet program and the police academy, and it even pays for your college tuition.
I'm actually starting the academy next month. I'll be the first one out of this program to start the actual police academy.
We go and we work with detectives. We go on ride-alongs. We do a lot of community relations. You know, the detectives, gangs, you know, we see that there are people wanting to help people. So they have this drive, and I'm like, I want to be on that train too. Like, let me get on your drive.
Females have a lot more compassion that they bring to the job. They bring a different aspect, like the communication side. And, you know, because guys can be a little rough around the edges, and it's like the girls can bring that compassion. And it's like you can do it like the guys, and you can even do it 2 times better than the guys.
If that is true, the gritty jobs of patrolling the streets and saving lives are about to get extra doses of compassion. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Since becoming mayor, Garcetti has also filled more than half of the city's commissioner seats with women. It's a permanent, welcoming space where people facing homelessness can get help on the spot. Rasha Goel has more on this new resource.
3, 2, 1. A vacant Civic Center kiosk across from Parker Center on Los Angeles Street is now a homeless help desk. It will provide individuals with information on services, resources, and shelter information.
Putting a help desk here right in front of City Hall sends a loud message to everyone in Los Angeles about what Los Angeles is about, that we do care. We want to be there for every Angelino, no matter what income level, no matter what struggles you're going through. We are here to help, and we all could do more, and we should be doing more.
Today, 4 of our current Older Workers Program participants, formerly homeless, are placed here at the help desk. This is their job training program, and they are helping us to reach out to a population that oftentimes doesn't get connected to the services that they need.
The unveiling of the kiosk is part of Homeless Connect Day, where homeless service providers will be available on hand to assist those experiencing homelessness with information they may need.
People who are homeless can come out of the shadows, can ask for help, that they deserve help.
Hopes are their support and experiences will help other homeless individuals.
Tragedies happen every time. People end up, in situations where, they need comfort, and need to feel, safe.
We help them with basic necessities, hygiene, pillows, blankets, stuff to keep them warm. Today we have brand new jackets we're passing out with t-shirts and dog pet food and pet beds, and we're just here to help them be a little more comfortable in their uncomfortable situation.
The Homeless Help Desk is a collaboration between Councilman Huizar's office and the mayor's office. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The Homeless Help Desk is located in a kiosk behind City Hall East and is open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Mental health services have a new permanent home in the underserved community of Watts. As Gil Reyes reports, the move is years in the making.
If you live in this part of South Los Angeles, there's a new option for low-cost mental health services. The Southern California Counseling Center opens its first satellite facility in Watts.
This was my ambition from the minute that I got hired to the center, was to get us out of the building and out into the community where we can serve people in the neighborhood rather than them coming to us.
At the grand opening, we learn of the history. The original center has served people in the Mid-City area since the late 1960s. Their services in Watts only began in 2014, and on a limited basis only through the Watts Labor Community Action Committee.
And as the need increased in the community, we wanted to be able to service more people in the community.
And so a permanent 6-room building at the Watts Committee campus opens. There is a 6-week waiting list for services set up by the courts, or you can set up on your own. Substance abuse, relationship counseling, and anger management services included. In Watts, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Services are for individuals, couples, and families. The folks at the center say their rates are low and on a sliding scale. We all know LA suffers from a housing crunch, and often tenants feel the pinch from landlords trying to raise rents or evict people illegally. But a free workshop in Council District 1 aims to change that. Anna Marcos has more.
City leaders got an earful from residents at this housing and tenants' rights workshop and legal clinic. Apparently, there are a lot of rental and housing gripes in this area of Pico Union.
The biggest one is that landlords want to kick out or evict their tenants to raise the prices. And of course, that's illegal.
Within our community, we have about over 85% who are renters. And so there's a lot of compliance issues from landlords, a lot of, filth in the buildings, rodent issues. A lot of the families are feeling unsafe. And so these are a lot of the issues that we're discussing.
This event is one of a series of housing rights workshops held throughout Councilmember Gil Cedillo's District 1, a joint effort by Cedillo's office, the LA Housing Community Investment Department, and local lawyers who provide free pro bono legal help for tenants. Residents are finding out when they can and can't get evicted, what rent increases are allowable, and how to get help when they're living in unsafe conditions.
Sometimes we think we don't have rights to, to protect our rights.
Regardless of their legal status, they need to know that they're protected under the law here in Los Angeles.
I wish that a lot of people can come to these workshops and learn more for themselves or to share with other people.
But for these tenants, at least, knowledge is power, and now they will be a force to be reckoned with in the rental market. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Lawyers from Ferias Legales provided pro bono work for the workshop. Well, it's about to undergo a major transformation, and officials hope once completed, it will help transform lives. Rasha Goel has more on a future facility dedicated to at-risk youth.
This may be an empty garage, but soon it will be a renovated youth recreation center.
This empty space is about to be transformed into dance studios, music studios, a fitness center, really exciting youth development opportunities for some of our most at-risk youth here in the East Valley.
The project has been in the works for 8 years and been a pivotal one for the New Directions for Youth organization. The organization has been around for 43 years and has continuously worked to create a positive atmosphere for at-risk youth.
We know that the youth who struggle the most are low-income youth who are of color, brown or black, and those youth are falling behind terribly in school. They are dropping out at higher rates than other youth, and they are struggling to become productive citizens. They suffer in the family from domestic violence and child abuse. A lot of the youth we work with are in foster care.
The new 5,000 square foot facility will help provide activities that also serve as a preventative measure to help these kids lead productive lives.
I was very proud that we were able to get $600,000 in funding to make this project happen. And that's money very well invested in preventing some of these young people from falling into the clutches of gangs or substance abuse.
It gives them an opportunity to really begin to build a foundation for a better life.
He also says investing in the youth is part of a worthy long-term crime reduction strategy. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The new center will offer programs such as after-school tutoring, counseling, art therapy, life skills, and more. Families in Venice headed outdoors for a day at the beach, not to play, but to help save the planet. As Gil Reyes reports, you're invited too.
The Geisler family is among the locals helping to pick up trash in Venice Beach.
Keep the ocean clean and the animals alive.
This is why we live here. It's a beautiful area. We get the mountains, the beach, and it's our responsibility to clean it up.
The environmental nonprofit group Heal the Bay organized this event.
Today is our monthly Nothing But Sand cleanup, where we gather people from all over the county and welcome them to one of our local beaches, and they all pitch in and we try to get as much trash off as we can.
Around 15 years ago, Heal the Bay was lucky to get 100 people to show up. Today, the group says 1,000 volunteers typically attend. Cleanups take place every third Saturday at a different beach, drawing church groups, alumni associations, and more.
WISE LA, Women Investing in a Sustainable Economy. And I'm here primarily to support that group, but also to support this little one up above me, because we need to make a difference and kind of change the way the world is moving right now.
Many of the volunteers oppose offshore drilling and other plans by the federal government that they say threaten our oceans. You can do your part to help save the planet by volunteering at the next coastal cleanup. Find out where at healthebay.org. I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Heal the Bay hosts volunteer cleanups in the Santa Monica Bay from Will Rogers State Beach to Torrance. While city leaders highlight LA's attributes in the hopes of attracting more investors, trash collection goes high-tech in Council District 4, and spring is in the air at the LA Zoo. All these stories in City Beat. The City of LA held its 4th Regional Investors Conference recently. Several city departments were on hand and highlighted all that Los Angeles has to offer for potential investors. Mayor Eric Garcetti talked about advancements in basic city services, economic growth, and infrastructure.
So if you want to see the face of the world today, come to LA. If you want to see the face of this country tomorrow, come to LA. Whether it's investments we're making in higher education, whether it's the 2028 Olympics, when the world will come here again. This is truly one of those great decades that will, I believe, lay the foundation for another 50 years of prosperity.
Councilmember David Rue, the Bureau of Sanitation, and representatives from E-Cube installed the first of 5 solar-powered compacting trash bins on Wilshire Boulevard in the Mid-City area. Officials say the bins are not only a more sustainable way to keep Los Angeles clean, but use mobile technology like sensors to alert LA Sanitation when a bin is full for more efficient waste removal.
With this technology, we can increase the capacity of waste collection, and also with the data with LA Sanitation, we'll be able to understand waste generation patterns and histories and ultimately increase the efficiency of waste collection.
These sensors will save the city time, save the city money, and save the city energy.
Families hopped into spring and had fun at the LA Zoo's Bug Bunnies Spring Fling. There was plenty of activities on hand, including a seed planting craft station, a bunny education station, animal presentations, face painting, and spring dance.
It's such a special experience for families to come here and connect with each other and nature and learn about wildlife here at the zoo and in the wild and what they can do to protect and safeguard wildlife and wild habitats.
A senior center in Council District 9 is not only taking care of its older population, but it's also bringing seniors together. Rasha Goel has more.
It gives us something to do and makes us reunite with one another and support each other.
Kathy Brown is among the seniors who is excited for the grand reopening of the Estelle Van Meter Multi-Purpose Senior Center in South Los Angeles. Thanks to this center, seniors will have free access to information, resources, and activities that can help them live fulfilling lives.
And we also have one of the most diverse older adult populations in the country. So what you'll see in the center is that you have African American seniors, Latino seniors, Caucasian seniors, other folks that live in this community coming here. Those seniors no longer have to stay home and be isolated, and they no longer have to travel a longer distance to find one of our other sites.
The city's Department of Aging has been working with Councilman Curran Price's office in creating services at the center. The councilman was able to secure $500,000 in funding per year for operation of the facility.
That's going to just help facilitate many of the programs that take place now in terms of the nutrition programs, the health programs, education programs. So it's going to really be an exciting center of operation.
The senior population is a growing population in Los Angeles, and this is the second center geared towards helping seniors in the 9th District. Now, it's taken about 4 years to help create and implement a program that helps seniors here in this community. The center has been open for several years, but is being rededicated. It is named after Estelle Van Meter.
She was a strong advocate for families and for kids, for making sure that the city, this area, part of town, received the services that it deserved. and that it was actively engaged in the decision-making process.
And her work has helped pave the way for many here.
And it give them like a voice, you know, and help them to pay bills, help them to get around to different places like doctor's office, you know, appointments and stuff like that. So it's really a great thing.
A great thing to know you can help bring fulfillment to the lives of others. In South Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
There are 27 senior centers in the city of Los Angeles. Go back in time to witness an authentic Victorian fashion show, help keep one of our precious resources clean, and discover the unique flavor of Toluca Lake during an Earth Day celebration. All this in this week's Things to Do. Legend has it that a duchess was too hungry to wait for a late dinner, so she began an afternoon custom of enjoying a selection of biscuits and cakes with her friends. Queen Victoria learned of this activity and also fell in love with the idea. By the late 1840s, the royal household was hosting daily tea parties, which later became known as afternoon tea. Join the Heritage Square Museum for a Victorian afternoon tea and fashion show as it presents First Ladies of Fashion. Whether they're American, French, or English, First Ladies have always been fashion trendsetters. Some of the more notable American First Ladies, from Martha Washington to the most iconic and fashionable First Lady Jackie Kennedy, will be showcased. It all takes place April 14th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Heritage Square Museum located at 3800 Homer Street. For more, visit heritagesquare.org. One of the best ways you can help preserve the present and future health of the LA River is by joining a cleanup effort. The group Friends of the LA River and nearly 10,000 of its closest friends team up each year to beautify the entire length of the river, the largest urban river cleanup in America. For 29 years, the group and Angelinos have cleaned the Los Angeles River and protected our oceans from trash and refuse. Join the effort on Saturday, April 14th for the biggest urban river cleanup in the country. For more, visit folar.org. Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council is hosting its 7th annual Earth Day celebration featuring Taste of Toluca. The event will be highlighted by a keynote delivered by Ed Begley Jr. and an appearance by LA Stormwater as the Trash Monster. You're invited to join the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council in celebrating our beautiful planet and discovering this hidden gem of a neighborhood. The event features over 40 festive booths, including local merchants and nonprofit agencies sharing environmental and green living information and services. At the same time, Taste of Toluca will offer complimentary small plates of favorite foods from a wide variety of local purveyors. Family fun includes a kids' activity corner and a recycled art contest. Contest winners will receive a week of art camp donated by Steve and Kate's Camp. Live music and entertainment on the center stage will be featured throughout the day. Admission is free. It all takes place on Sunday, April 15th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
I'm Cindy and I'm in Little Tokyo, and you're watching Channel 35, Your City, Your Channel.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Adopt a Pet Today, sponsored by the Pet Care Foundation. And today we are at the South LA Animal Shelter, which is on 60th Street near the corner of Western. But if that's not a convenient location for you, there are 5 other LA City shelters. You can find all locations at laanimalservices.com. That's laanimalservices.com. Now we're going to show you some wonderful cats and dogs, one that I'm sure will be perfect for you. But if you don't see the one that's perfect for you, you can also go to that website, laanimalservices.com, and see every single animal that they have at all 6 LA City shelters. Now we also have Raina Barker, our resident dog trainer, with dog training tips and care tips that I'm sure you'll want to hear. So let's go see some great dogs and cats, one just for you.
And here we are at South LA, and here's our first guest. Who is this?
This is Morgan, and he's a very handsome guy, as you can tell. He's about 8 years old. He's great on a leash. He loves to play fetch.
Is that the spot?
Yeah, that's the spot. And he's been at the shelter for a little while, but he's people friendly, he's dog friendly, he's great on a leash, loves to play catch. So he is a little bit older, not old, but a little bit older, which is not stopping anything because he still has a whole lot of energy.
That's
loves
great.
to run and play.
Great, yeah, and the older, you know, he's in great shape. He has a lot of energy. He's very engaging, loves dogs and people. You couldn't ask for a better companion in your home. This would be an awesome dog to adopt and give him that home forever. And do you have his A number at all available?
Yes, it is A1739899.
That's perfect. I love these older guys. And he is, like we said, he is still energetic and happy and healthy and ready to find his forever home. This is Daisy Girl. Come here, love. Turn around. Good girl. Yay.
All right.
And Daisy came in a little timid and a little nervous, but she's sweet. You say she's really a good girl.
She's a very good girl. She loves people. She's very affectionate. She loves belly rubs. She's very, very, very sweet and just loves everybody. She loves the volunteers. The volunteers love her. She's actually about 8 years old, and she just loves everybody. And her behavior is very, very submissive, very sweet. Just a gentle soul.
She's
just very sweet.
Love it.
Yes.
And I love that personality too.
Oh, yes.
Because I have one. And you just have to realize, you know, she's a little more shy and timid. Take your time with introducing her to new things.
Right.
And she probably does just fine. You know, not all of us are outgoing and, you know.
And she's pretty mellow. She'd love to just hang out and just enjoy the summertime in a new home.
Perfect.
Her A number is A1693622.
Daisy Mae. Hello, Amelia. How old is she and what's her A number?
Okay, well this is Camellia,
Camellia.
and yes, and she's about 9 years old. Her A number is A1744265.
Come here, love.
And she's a sweet senior girl. She's very, very, very friendly. She likes other dogs. She's hung out with some other dogs, and she's just a sweet little girl that needs a new home. She has a little bit of cataracts in her eye. But otherwise, she's great. She loves to play, loves to be handled, and just loves people. She's a great girl, but she is already spayed, and she's vaccinated, and she's ready to go home with somebody today.
Good. What a sweetheart.
Girl.
She's a little underweight. The coughing here, again, is pressure, you know, from the leash.
From pulling.
Yeah. So that always makes me feel bad because then she's probably been, you know, handled a little roughly around her neck in the past. But that doesn't, and look how good she is.
And she's got a beautiful coloring. I love her colors.
Yeah.
This little beauty is Jessie. Very sweet little girl. Her ID number is A174 52008. And she's about 5 years old. She's very sweet. She loves to play. She loves people. She was an owner surrender. She came into the shelter with a little mass on her neck. We were able to get some fluid out of there, which is a good thing. But she's in good spirits. And like I said, she does love people, very playful. And she's just a beautiful girl. She is a Jindu mix.
Yeah.
And she's been at the shelter for a little while, so we want to make sure that she gets a home.
Yeah.
Because she's definitely a love bug that just needs some TLC.
And they come, when they get adopted, they're spayed or neutered?
Yes, she is already
microchipped
spayed and vaccinated and microchipped and just ready to go home to a new family.
Yep. Let's talk about Moses.
Okay, Moses is definitely a beautiful, gorgeous boy. He is an American staff mix. He is a beautiful brindle color, which is awesome.
Hello.
He is here at the South LA shelter. His A number is A1753067, and he is a sweet, gentle, big boy.
How old?
He is about, let's see here, about 8 years old as well. He's been in the shelter for about 2 months, and he came in kind of injured with some wounds to his chest. But he does need a good, loving, warm, warm home, especially for this colder weather. He can definitely cuddle with somebody, but he's a big boy that just has a whole lot of TLC he can give and is more than likely to welcome it all.
Awesome. And he's and is he good in the yard?
We don't have a whole bunch of background on him as far as his personality at a home. But here is a little stressful for them, so they totally do give you a different personality once they get into a new home.
But definitely engaging and definitely people dog.
Okay.
Oh, who is this girl?
This is Hope. Hope is a 9-year-old German Shepherd, super sweet, very, very smart. Loves to play catch. She was actually out in the yard playing catch. She's a sweet girl.
I know it. Where are we? Huh?
She
What's
came in
happening?
actually with a little heart murmur, but we have no signs of that heart murmur anymore, which is great.
And that can be treated easily. Come here.
But she loves to play.
Good. Good job.
Loves to play and doesn't seem to pay any attention to any of the other dogs, which is always good. But just has energy and is definitely going to need a yard.
Yep.
And some good walks, play ball, all that good stuff. But
and what's
she's
her
her name is Hope.
Her A number though, sweetie?
Is A1746079.
Good job. Come here. Turn around.
And she actually is dog friendly.
Good.
So we've been able to have her in the yard with some other dogs. This handsome boy is Pitt.
What is it?
Pitt.
Pitt?
That's the name, Pitt.
P-I-T.
P-I-T.
All right.
And he's a very sweet boy. He's about 8 years old as well. He was an owner surrender, but according to his previous owners, they said he's very, very good with people. He's very, very sweet. He's also very gentle with treats, which is great for training purposes.
It is.
Very, very, very gentle. He doesn't seem to bother, or be bothered by other dogs, which is also great. He knows how to sit, so he knows some of his commands, and some of those commands he's learned here at the shelter with volunteers. But he's already neutered, and his A number is A1722114. Otherwise, he's just a sweet boy that just needs a good home and is just very loving and, again, very gentle with treats and does know some of his commands, which, again, I mentioned is very, very good. Smart boy.
How long has he been here?
He's been at the shelter here, oh, my goodness, for quite a few months. I think it's been about 7 months now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everest. Look at him. He's so handsome. He's a big, how much does he weigh? My goodness.
He's a big boy, definitely a big boy. But this is Everest, and his A number is A1671660, and he is a big boy that loves to play fetch. He loves to play with the ball. He loves treats. He's a volunteer favorite here at the South LA shelter. He's been here for about 11 months, and we would like for him to go to a family where he's the only dog. But he's fine. He's great. He's very smart. And he loves, like I said, to play out in the yard, loves to play ball. And he just needs a family to give him a new chance and give him a welcoming home so that he can get all the TLC as possible.
He's
Yeah,
a big
great
boy. He's strong. Get some training on him, but he's already a people dog.
Yes,
so
and he's
he'll
already
probably
neutered too.
learn.
Neutered and
Yeah.
vaccinated and microchipped, ready to go home. This is Samantha, and her A number is A1753365. And she's about a 4-year-old German Shepherd girl who came into the shelter with an injury on her leg. She actually had a broken leg that the bone was exposed, so we did have to amputate her leg. So she does have her right front leg has been amputated, but she's very, very sweet. She's very lovable, a little shy. However, they did bring Morgan out to hang out with her. Morgan is one of the first dogs that we did show today, and she perked right up when she seen him.
Oh, awesome.
And she just totally felt comfortable with him, and she's doing really well. That leg really isn't stopping too much of anything. And she wants to cling on to you. She thinks she's a lap dog.
Yay.
Super sweet, super lovable here at the South LA shelter. And she's already spayed, vaccinated, microchipped, the works, just ready to go home with somebody who's going to give her all the TLC she deserves.
And it would be good
Sweet
then
girl.
for her to have a dog companion in the home to help build her confidence and trust. And when their dog, I have a dog like that I'm fostering who is so dog friendly, and he just needs that companionship.
This is Dog, and he is a 2-year-old male.
Hi.
With, again,
Pretty
beautiful
smell.
coloring, big boy. And he came into the shelter as an owner surrender, and he is very sweet and loved by volunteers. He loves to lay out in the sun and sunbathe, and he loves treats. He's already vaccinated, microchipped. He will need to get neutered, which we'll probably have done sometime this week. But he's a great boy. He's just been at the shelter for quite a while and really needs to get a new home.
Oh, you need a home. Come see this gorgeous boy. I love his coloring. It's a beautiful color. It's like this reddish fawn color. It's
Beautiful.
so pretty. You're a pretty boy.
Yes, his A number is 1729398. Sorry about that. I'll repeat it. A1729398. This is Wallace, and Wallace is definitely a big boy. Wallace's A number is A1744903, and he is a white American Bulldog, and he is already neutered, microchipped, vaccinated, and the works. He's been at the shelter for a little while. He's energetic, strong. He's actually really goofy. And he would love to, I'm sorry?
Like a big
old love bug, right? And he loves long walks. He is, we recommend that he be the only dog in the home. He doesn't really like to share his food too much, but these are all things that we can definitely overcome. But he is great with people, and the volunteers do love him. And again, he likes long walks, and he loves to be out in the yard, so he's just looking for a new home.
So we just saw some beautiful dogs.
Oh, we did.
Really
Wonderful.
sweet, sweet dogs.
Bless their hearts. Absolutely.
Speaking of dogs, I have 3 big dogs and 5 cats.
Yes, you do.
And I'm moving.
Yes, I know.
So tell me how I should move them.
Well, first of all, we'll talk about dogs and the cats kind of separately, but overall, whenever you do make a move with an animal, the main goal is to keep them safe and help them feel safe, right?
Right.
It's a big transition. It's like us. Sometimes we're excited and sometimes we're nervous, and they can feed into that, anxiety or stress that we have, or our joy, depending upon how we project it. So also just keeping them safe and secure, and having them understand this is a good thing, don't worry, I'm here for you. Okay, now how do we go about doing that? With a dog, dogs are a little bit more adventuresome than a cat. So for them, sometimes, depending upon our attitude, it's going to be, oh, this is kind of fun. We get to go and see a new place, smell and check it out, and sniff and hang out and mark it and all that. So I do suggest to have people take their dogs to their new neighborhood and visit it a couple times before the move. Let them smell and get used to the little neighborhood, and if you can, then ultimately go into the house and the yard before you actually make the big move and let them check it out. And I did that when I moved years ago. Several times I brought my dogs to my new house, and it was an adventure. It was fun. So we'd play in the backyard and get them to hang out in the house, and that was before all the move, okay? So it helps them, hey, have some familiarity before you get there, okay? Every animal is different. Every animal is going to acclimate differently. Some are going to be more stressed than others no matter what you do, and some are going to be just fine. It just depends upon your dog and your relationship and what you do, okay, and how they are and how sensitive you are to their individual needs. Somebody with one dog, you know, that's a little easier than you with multiple animals, but those relationships that your dogs have help each other as well, I think. You know, I think they're, oh, he's okay, so I'll be okay. So make it an adventure, make it fun for them, and take them there, okay? Also, don't make a bunch of changes with their beds and get them new things and new bowls. Keep the same, you're right, because you want that smell, you know, to go with. You can add and make new things later once they've settled in, but, you know, make sure the yard is secure. Don't leave them alone in the yard unsupervised right away, because that's an unfamiliar yard. They may panic if you're gone, and suddenly I have that happen a lot with clients. Oh my God, I just got this dog. He loves the yard, but I went to work and he escaped. Sure, he doesn't know where you are. He doesn't know the house very well or the yard very well yet. If you need to leave, hook up with a good dog walker or a pet sitter or something who can check on your animals and be there, or a friend who can be there for them. I also suggest on the day you move, perhaps, you're going to be busy with movers and settling things. Have somebody you know be their companion that day. Hang out with them, you know, in the yard even. You know, you don't want to isolate them. You don't want to abandon them and have them worry where you went and what's going on, because they're going to know things are changing.
You want to be that companion?
Sure, I'll do it. I'd love it. That would be fun.
Okay.
Now, those are dogs, you know, and that's just tip of the iceberg. That's, you know, we're limited time here. I could go on, you know, but with the cats, as I said, cats are a little different. Cats are like, change, no way, change. I don't like change, you know, and they have, you know, they have issues with that. So with cats, of course, transporting them, I don't know how you think about transporting. In a carrier, are they carrier trained? Not so much. Really. I know many cats are like, no, I don't want to go in that carrier either. So if you have time now, and they're not carrier trained, you know the box carriers that the vets use, or you know, get some of those. You know how cats love to jump in boxes and go in bags and that sort of thing? Set them out. Let them jump in boxes. Throw catnip in there and cat treats, and let them explore in the boxes and get used to going in and out of them with food and whatever good things, so that when you do put them in there, it's maybe not quite as traumatic. You know, give it a week or so, whatever time you have. And transport them, obviously, in a carrier that's safe. If you have a regular carrier, you're taking like a crate, then you need to do the same thing. Leave the crates out.
You could do that. Put treats
in there, catnip, you know, let them go in and out with the door open right now, and let them feed them in there if you can. So those are fun. Once you move and you transport them, though, they do not have run of the house. Obviously, you can't anyway with the dogs. But anybody who just has a cat by itself or two cats, you just give them a room. You know this. You've done it. You do not want to let them have the whole house. It's a room, whether it be a bathroom or one room that they're just going to hang out in and become familiar with,
at first,
at first, absolutely. You can expand once they've settled in. They're going to try and hide. They may want to climb high and, you know, get away from all the chaos, so make those available for them. A place to hide, a place to climb, things like that. You know, you got it. You're a cat person. You got it.
I'm a cat and dog person.
And dog person,
you
are. I know you are. I know you are. But that's it.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and I'd love to help you out. Okay.
All right. Okay, here we go. This is Sophie, and tell us Sophie's A number, Arlene.
Sophie's A number is 1762627. She is a beautiful girl. Look at that. She's about 4 years old. Very, very sweet. She's a brown tabby and white. And she actually came in with Winston, who will introduce you in just a second. She is a female spayed, already vaccinated, microchipped, the works. She's been here for a little while, and she's going right next door. She's very curious, as you can tell. but she's just looking for a new home. And again, she came in with this other cat that we're going to introduce to you, but she's super sweet and lovable. Look at that.
Did we get her A number? I can't remember.
It's A1762627. Oh, look at that.
She has a great partner, Winston, who we're going to show you right now. And it's always good to have two cats because they keep each other company, right? This is Winston that we were talking about before.
Yes.
Sophie's brother.
And his A number is A1762629, and he is gorgeous. He's a gray tabby, and he was an owner surrender with his sister. Beautiful boy, look at that. Very affectionate, beautiful coloring, already neutered, microchipped, vaccinated, the works. And again, like you said, if you take them both home, they just entertain each other. Right. But he is gorgeous, very big cat and just lovable. Look at that.
They're both really lovable
Very
cats.
affectionate, yes. Not shy at all, which is great, especially for the shelters.
Right.
So as long as they have each other, they'll keep each other busy. Beautiful. Her name is Samantha. And Samantha's a sweet girl. She's about 3 years old. She's already spayed. She's vaccinated. She's microchipped. She is here at the South LA shelter. Her A number is A1762747. And she's also got some beautiful coloring. She's a tortie. Right. Just looking for a new home. She will be available on the 16th of March. So just come on into the shelter and give her a new home. She's very, to herself and quiet. I'm sure she's a little nervous about being here, but she definitely just needs a new home. And like I said, she's very young, about 3 years old. So just come on in and take her home.
She'd probably love to curl up in your lap and sleep and watch TV and read with you, right?
Oh, right. And I love the coloring, too.
Here we have a gorgeous Siamese. Love those big blue eyes.
Beautiful, beautiful boy. Okay, his name is Benjamin. And Benjamin, his A number is 1761502. And again, he is a male, and he's a Siamese Seal Point mix, about 3 years old. He hasn't been neutered, but he will be before he gets home. Also vaccinated, microchipped, the works. Of course, as you can see, the beautiful coloring and the beautiful eyes. He's very, very, very curious. As you can tell, he's starting to come out and warm up a little bit. But he's a beautiful cat, and it would be, really good in a home with a family that's going to, give him the TLC. Because again, being here at the shelter, it makes them a little nervous. I can understand that. So
he would show some personality once he got used to you.
Oh yes, definitely. Once you take them home and like I said, make them a little more comfortable. It's not so scary, because sometimes just being in a new environment, especially with cats, I get a little nervous.
So he may need somebody that's got some cat experience.
Yes, to take him home and just kind of bring him around so he can really show his little personality.
Okay, so our next beautiful kitty cat is named Charlene.
Yes, Charlene is a gorgeous brown tabby. She's 2 years old. She was brought in as a stray, so we do need to make sure that she gets spayed before she goes home, which will definitely be taken care of. She's vaccinated. She will be microchipped. She's been at the shelter here for about just a few days, and she's actually available as of tomorrow. So she's just looking for a new home. Like I said, very beautiful brown tabby that will definitely adjust once you take her home, because again, it's a little nervous being here. I know I would definitely be a little nervous.
Well, and plus there's a light and a camera sticking in her face.
Of course. Of course, but she just needs a home that's going to give her, the TLC that she needs. But she's very young, like I said, 2 years old. That will definitely adjust once you take her home into your families.
Again, with this cat, somebody that's got some cat experience to help her feel secure and safe, and then she'd come out and be a loving kitty, I'm sure.
Definitely. It just takes a little while for them to adjust, and then eventually they come around. But she's a sweet girl, and she, again, beautiful coloring, just like the rest of the cats that we show today.
Okay, so now we have Chrissy, another beautiful kitty.
Okay, now this is Chrissy. She is beautiful, a little nervous as well. She's a gray tabby, and her A number is 1761276. She's probably like, why?
Get that camera out of my face.
Right? She's about 1.5 years old, and again, her number is A1761276. Beautiful gray tabby. She was brought in as a possible owner, but they didn't come in to redeem her, so she's looking for a new family. That probably explains a little bit of the hissing. She's like, where's my family at? So she's looking to go home with somebody. She's available on the 15th. And again, she will be spayed before going home. She's already vaccinated. She will be microchipped and just ready to go to a new loving family.
And again, with this one, somebody with some cat experience would probably be better.
Definitely, just to give her a little time and allow her to eventually, you know, show her personality and warm up, because she did previously belong to somebody, but that we didn't have any luck getting a hold of them. So she just, I'm sure, is a little, you know, about wondering what's going on and why am I here. So she just needs a new family.
All right, Arlene. This one is, you're going to name her Winter.
Winter.
God, she's gorgeous.
She is beautiful. Look at that. Look at those eyes. She is a gorgeous 1-year-old spayed female here at the South LA shelter. Her A number is A1762269. Again, she's only a year old. So she does have her vaccines. She's also spayed, microchipped, ready to go home with a new family as of the 14th.
And getting up to say hello.
She is.
I'm going to go in here.
She
and
says,
get away from this light.
What are all these people doing here in front of me? So she's definitely a sweetheart, just relaxing, because again, she just got spayed. So she's just kind of taking it slow. But she is a gorgeous girl, just looking for a new home.
Now we have a tuxedo kitty, black and white, named Mauricio.
Yes, very fancy, right?
That's it.
He is a 4-year-old black and white tuxedo cat here at the South LA shelter. His A number is 1759434, and he's about 4 years old. Look at that. He's just rolling over. Very sweet boy, looking for a new family to give him some TLC. Again, he is a male, and he will be neutered, and he will be completely vaccinated, microchipped, ready to go home with his new family. He's been here for about a couple weeks now, and so he just needs somebody to give him some TLC. He did come in with an injury to his tail, so we did amputate that. Otherwise, he's just doing great, and he is definitely lovable. Look at that. Very sweet boy. As soon as he went in there into the cage, he just kind of flopped over. So that's always a good sign, especially with cats.
So now we're in the rabbit room, and there's lots of bunnies available, and they're awfully cute. Tell us about caring for rabbits, Arlene.
Oh my goodness. So one of the most important things that we want to make sure that we do whenever we take home a new rabbit is we got to make sure that they're spayed and neutered. Very important. People don't realize that they have to spay and neuter their rabbits, but they will multiply very quickly, which is why we usually have so many come into the shelter. Unfortunately, they're not always the quickest to get adopted, but we do want to make sure that people understand we have lots of rabbits in the shelters that are available for adoption. The fees do include them getting spayed and neutered, which is a great thing, so we don't have to worry about them going home and reproducing or producing more babies. But we do have volunteers that come into the shelter. They do exercise our rabbits, regularly, which is great. As you can tell, we have hay inside of their cages here. We have pellets, we have food, and again, we want to make sure that people do understand that we do have, rabbits. We have just about everything in the shelter. So it's not just cats and dogs. And so if you're looking for a new rabbit, please visit your local shelter. We have 6 in the city of Los Angeles. And again, we do try to get them homes, as quickly as possible, because they do stand here for just, a little longer than some of the others. But we want to make sure we get them new homes as well.
And I've heard that rabbits can be litter box trained. Is that true?
Yes, all of ours here are. So that's one of the things that you do see. We have litter boxes in all of our cages. So they do get litter trained when they're here in the shelter, which is...
But do they use kitty litter or do they use hay?
Actually, they like to eat the hay. Well, they go and handle their business, which is kind of funny, but they do. We also, like I said, have pellets for them, but they will go on the litter boxes, they will eat the hay, and they will go to the potty.
And rabbits are very affectionate too, aren't they?
Very affectionate, very, very sweet. Again, a lot of times people come in and they want to adopt a rabbit. They usually have some sort of experience with rabbits. But like I said, the most important thing is that if you have a rabbit at home, that they're spayed and neutered. Again, if you adopt from the shelters, all of them are spayed and neutered prior to going home with their new families. But they're lovable, sweet, pets that just, again, need new homes.
So that's our show. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you found a dog or a cat that you want to rush on down to the South LA shelter and adopt. But if you didn't, please go to laanimalservices.com. You can see all of the animals that they have at all 6 LA City shelters on that website. And remember, you got to spay and neuter your animals. It's the best way to keep them safe, healthy, at home with you, and it is the law in Los Angeles. Thanks again for watching. See you next time on Adopt a Pet Today.
Hi, this is Carretero Family.
We are from East Los Angeles, Boyle Heights. You're watching Channel 35, our city, our
channel. Welcome to Galley Wars Steel Beach Burger Challenge. 4 teams will go spatula to spatula to see who can grill up the best burger, plus 2 side dishes and dessert, using only standard issue galley ingredients. Competing this year, we have chefs and their teams representing the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. Marines, and the Royal Canadian Navy.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the 2017 Galley Wars. I'm your host, Rasha Goel. Each of our 4 teams competing today have 20 minutes each to cook and plate their burgers, side dishes, and desserts. And after that, they have to present them to these 3 amazing celebrity judges. Chef Mei Lin, Bravo TV's Top Chef winner, Steve Sampson, with his 2 successful LA restaurants, Rosso Blue and Soto. Chef Robert Irvine from Food Network's hit highest rated show, Restaurant Impossible.
Today's Steel Beach Picnic, this is our way of saying thank you to LA for LA Fleet Week 2017.
Reigning Miss Woman California, she is the official Galley War timer. Athena Fleming, a 4-year veteran of the United States Coast Guard. This board is going to give the winning team the bragging rights for 1 full year to be recognized as the best Galley War Steel Beach Burger plate on the 7 seas. Who's ready to meet our teams? All right. Team U.S. Navy did win last year. I mean, is there added pressure for you guys?
No, we're going to win it again this year, too.
And this better be the best burger you got.
Coast Guard, why are you devoted to winning Galley Wars?
We were here last year. We didn't get the win. So we're back this year to claim our title.
Just make everything taste and look good.
Team U.S. Marine Corps.
We're the 1%, baby. We're the Marines.
Well, the Marines think they're tough, right? That's why they put all that spice in.
We never crack under pressure.
Let's hear it for the Royal Canadians.
I had a dream about a burger, and the Great Canadian Experiment was invented.
Just keep your head down and work hard.
We're going to bring it international and win the whole thing.
3, 2, 1.
We're missing a burger. Where's the burger?
Chef Irvine, are you ready to talk about these burgers?
Yeah, let's talk about the Navy, first of all.
All right.
Submariners over here. Have you ever heard of carryover cooking? What does it mean?
Carryover cooking, is that when you start to cook something and then you have to carry over all that moisture and whatnot?
Okay, first thing you did wrong. First thing you did wrong. I'm going to take this away from you.
It's kind of hard not to press it when you're at the grill, and there's a lot of nervous energy and stuff, but you just got to resist the temptation.
Coasties, The salmon, really going on a limb there. That's a tough thing to do because it's already dry, right? It's not a fatty fish, especially when you grill it. I think it was slightly overcooked, but the flavor was really good. What gave it the good fat was the mayonnaise or whatever you put on the bun. It was spiced correctly.
Creatively, I thought it was one of the more creative burgers that we saw today. But the sides were probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
All right, Athena, you're standing with the U.S. Marine Corps.
What happened to the burger? You're never late to an appointment.
You could take this one right here. I promise you it'll be perfect.
When it's a burger that's supposed to be on the plate, it's supposed to be on the plate. It's like going to war without a gun. You would never do that, right? Remember, 20 minutes, you can't do a burger that's this thick. Just won't cook, ever. Young man, come here. Come here. You, yeah, muscles. Come here. Give me a double bicep pose. Big bicep. So when you carry over cook, right? When you sear something in a pan, something that's really hot, keep them up. I didn't say stop. When you sear something or you put a turkey in the oven at high temperature, what you're doing, you're pushing the liquid to the surface of the protein. When you relax it. You allow all that juice to go back into your burger. So when you cut through it, you got all that juiciness and flavor, right? That's what resting is, and that's so important when you cook. Undercook it, let it carry over. All right,
Show me the burger again.
Chef
Are you single?
You're brilliant.
And he's single, he's got lots of money. Anybody wants to marry him?
The Royal Canadian Navy.
Presentation, I thought, was really good. Again, the burger in the middle, not cooked.
Chef Maylin.
The moose milk, I could probably drink a quart of that.
I want to know in that dream, who were you cooking this burger for?
My wife.
All right, we're going to
And I'm trying to
Athena
figure
has
out
the
which of the
microphone.
three of you guys actually had to milk the moose. Okay.
No, the moose milk is the world's greatest adult milkshake.
We are gearing up to announce the third runner-up. Chef Sampson, who is the third runner-up today?
The Coast Guard.
Woo! All right. Would you like to make any comments on their work again? I know we talked about it there, but maybe some strong points?
Yeah, I think, again, you really showed that your talent and your creativity. I think you just suffered from choosing salmon over beef, and I think that's what led to our decision more than anything.
So the book didn't win the favors here then, huh?
There's a good-looking dude on the front of it.
Let's hear it one more time for the Coast Guard.
Thank you, Team Coast Guard. All right, Chef Maylin, and you have the second runner-up.
So the runner-up is the Navy.
Woo! Team U.S. Navy. Any strong points that you could mention as far as what they cooked today?
Honestly, that coleslaw was really, really good.
That leaves us with two teams, Chef Irvine. Now, just one of them is going to walk away with that cutting board.
So there are no real winners or real losers here. You're all winners for me. So thank you for your service, first and foremost. I think the difference between the first, second, third, and fourth is really timing, cooking, ingenuity, and creativity. So let's have a drum roll. Drum roll. I need drum rolls. Yeah, you see the Canadians get it. Yeah, there you go. All right. So the winner of the 2017 Galley Wars is the Canadians.
Come on out here, get your pie.
Thank you, Chef Irvine. Let's give it up for the Royal Canadian Navy. They have definitely taken this The Royal competition to the Canadian Navy. international waters. Guys, come on out here. Come on out.
We came here hoping to have a really good showing. We don't like to be arrogant. We like to come in and we like to do the very best we can. And we're elated. Like we did what our shipmates expected us to do, but we came in just hoping to do our best.
You are the 2017 Galley Wars champions. You are taking away this board. Really, what has this entire experience been like for you, and what does it mean to you?
It's been fantastic getting to meet the rest of the militaries that we deal with, actually on a more personal basis, not just out there sailing and doing exercises and TGXs. Actually getting to meet the guys that do this like we do day in and day out, it's been a privilege. It was just an honor to be here, and we were happy to accept, and I told you.
And what's one thing that you're going to be taking away from this entire experience with you?
The other competition, like all these awesome,
Great guys.
good cooks.
Absolutely great guys.
Phenomenal.
Oh, and guess what? You're not just going home with a board. We actually have these lovely chef aprons. Let me open this up real quick. Look at these jackets. Aren't they beautiful? So this is yours. Congratulations. Thank you for being a part of this competition. Again, it is such a pleasure to host the 2017 Galley Wars right here in San Pedro. I'd like to take a moment to thank Chef Mei Lin, Chef Steve Sampsons, and Chef Robert Irvine. Join us next year for the 2018 Fleet Week right here at the LA Waterfront in San Pedro. We'll see you soon.
Shannon Lamert Park. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
I do believe that hard work is the mother of good luck, and when you put in the effort, that the opportunities will unfold in front of you.
My father was a farm worker. He transferred that pride and work to his children, including myself. What I'm trying to do in Los Angeles, question and push the status quo.
The eyes will always be on you, but once you prove you can do that job and do it better than anybody else, literally the sky's the limit.
Salita Reynolds. I'm the general manager for the Los Angeles Department of Transportation. I manage 2,000 employees, 7,500 miles of streets, 37,000 parking meters, and the most advanced signal systems in the world. What I love about my job is I get to have a direct impact in people's lives. I can change the conversation that we've been having about transportation from one that's focused on how do we move as many cars as fast as we can to how can we save as many lives and make this city great for as many people as we can. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was a feminist, and I had my hair dyed manic panic red, and the sides were shaved, and I wore Doc Marten boots and had my nose pierced. And that was everything you can imagine it would be in Jackson, Mississippi in the 80s and 90s. What I'm trying to do in Los Angeles, question and push the status quo. I get to be close to how decisions are being made. I get to see local government. I get the chance to leave a place better than I found it. Los Angeles has so much heart. No matter what you care about, no matter what you're interested in, you can find it here.
Los Angeles is a city of opportunity. This is really an incredible country where, someone like me who grew up very poor can define herself. And Los Angeles is a city where you're not necessarily defined by the circumstances that you're born into or by the detours you might hit or by mistakes you might have made. You can define yourself. You can define who you are and who you want to be. And as long as you work hard and dream big, this is a place where you can achieve that. My father was a farm worker and took the risk to come to this country. They worked really hard, toiled in the fields to give us better opportunities. And whatever he did, he took great pride in a job well done. And I think he transferred that pride and work to his children, including myself. I always worked harder than I was asked to work. I always put in 110% to whatever project I had. And I think that has made me successful despite not having a more traditional resume or more formal educational background. After finishing a 3-month program at the adult school that I went to and where I learned basic office skills, I got a job at a community organization as a part-time office manager. And I accidentally stumbled into what would become really my calling because this organization mobilized people through their congregations to work on social justice issues. And through all of that, I also always took the time to get to know people, to develop relationships, and that I think is what ultimately led Eric Garcetti and I to cross paths. One of the privileges that I have in my work is that I get to work on everything from international trade to tourism to public utility issues to public safety issues, and that I'm able to make an impact and bring my experiences, my lens, to make sure that I am helping the mayor run the city in a way that fits his vision and his values. I'm very passionate about issues related to immigration. To me, it's an incredibly important accomplishment that we have helped so many people and many more to come achieve their American citizenship. I'm also tremendously proud of the role that we've played in changing the face of City Hall so that it looks more like Los Angeles. There are about 280 commissioners that the mayor appoints to help him run the city of Los Angeles. And for the first time in the history of the city, 54% of those commissioners are women. And we have no all-male commissions. And that is very personally important to me, not just because women and the people of diverse backgrounds bring a unique lens to the development of policy, but also because it's important for people across Los Angeles to see people that look like them with names that sound like theirs in positions of authority. Because if you've never known what it feels like to have power, you can't imagine yourself having authority. That means something to a little girl. And while it's maybe a symbolic achievement, it's still, I think, one of the most powerful things that we've done in this administration. I have always believed that people are defined by much more than the circumstances they were born into. At the same time, I've come to understand that it's possible to care deeply about fairness and justice, even if you haven't experienced poverty like I have. Our common goals and our values transcend the more superficial differences that might exist between us. I always encourage women to get involved in civic life. Regardless of your background, regardless of your formal education, by being involved in civic life, you're learning skills that you can apply to all aspects of your life that you can use to be a successful person. Get out there, get involved, volunteer, invest some time, both in making your neighborhood better for yourself and making this a better city for all of us.
My name is Kristen Crowley, and I'm the first woman fire marshal for the city of Los Angeles. As a fire marshal, I am tasked with leading and managing over 200 people within the Fire Prevention and Public Safety Bureau. Our fire inspectors are doing inspections on all of these buildings throughout the day. What we focus on is the prevention and the enforcement of the fire code. Now, the public may not even realize exactly how many disasters are actually avoided by conducting our inspections. This keeps you safe when you go to work and when you go home each and every day. I really had no idea I wanted to become a firefighter. I was actually pre-med in college and on my way to become an orthopedic surgeon. Went to EMT school, got my paramedic license, and that was to prep for medical school. Did my ride-outs with the fire department, and after that, that's exactly what I knew I wanted to do. I promoted from firefighter, paramedic, engineer, fire inspector, Captain 1, Captain 2, battalion chief, assistant chief, and now fire marshal. All of those different steps helped develop me to who I am today and where I can sit here in the fire marshal's position and feel confident in my skill set. Being the first female fire marshal in the history of Los Angeles, I take that as a very serious move. I see it really in two main areas. One is just being that role model for any little girl, any woman out there who can just see me and what I've accomplished. That really is one of my main motivating factors. And the second one is really when you talk about bringing diversity into any work environment, it's just really bringing in a unique skill set, a unique perspective. And I think overall that'll make our organization stronger. I've had the honor to run a number of our high school fire academies throughout the years, and we've touched over 1,000 LA Unified School District high school students. And what they do is they come and participate in our high school fire academies, and I've had the opportunity to mentor and coach them all the way through the program, in and through college, and a number of them actually have entered into a career in the fire service. And it's an amazing feeling to be able to touch the community like that in a positive way and really influence these young adults to make a difference in the world. When I came on the job, I made a promise to myself, no matter what, I would never become complacent. I'd learn my job, I'd learn it well, and then I'd move on. Because once you become an expert in something, that's the time to push forward and learn a new job. The eyes will always be on you, especially as a female employee. They're on you a little bit longer, but once you prove you can do that job and do it better than anybody else, literally the sky's the limit. People ask all the time about those big fires, the big incidents, those multi-casualty types of calls where you have a lot of different patients and how that affects you in the fire service. But the reality for me is the calls that really stick with me are the ones where I was able to connect, truly connect with the patients, with the families. I have one particular incident that still sticks with me, and it was an elderly woman who just lost her husband of 60 plus years, and she was having a very difficult time. We could have easily just walked in there and said, sorry for your loss, we're going to call the coroner and the police department, and then be done with the call. But the reality is when you take that extra step to connect, that's what it's all about. That's what we did, is I held her hand through the whole time and explained exactly what was going to happen from this point forward and really connected with her in her time of need. And those are the types of calls that really stick and have stuck with me throughout my career.
Hello, I'm Deborah Flint, and I'm the CEO of Los Angeles World Airports.
Personable, passionate, poised, her job demands the Herculean management of multiple airport needs.
I say I have one of the most exhilarating jobs because no day in my life is ever the same when it comes to my airport career.
People who work with Deborah and know the complexity of the job, like Mary Grady, Public Relations for LAX, says this about her.
She's dealing with all those airlines. She's dealing with the Transportation Security Administration, the FAA, Department of Homeland Security, Drug Enforcement Administration, and then, of course, Customs and Border. She has a capacity to be able to stay on top of everything that's happening at that airport.
Staying on top of everything includes not only running the airport, but managing the $14 billion renovation program, already 10 years in the making.
We are in the middle of massive construction projects, and we will be until 2024. We're continuing to operate an airport, though, in the meantime, and how we continue to operate that airport and making sure that passengers can get in and out of our airport, that the airlines can get their planes in and out of our airport is a huge challenge. She is dedicated. She is a person that works probably 20 hours of the day. By enhancing our airport and working toward her vision and our vision as a board of becoming the best airport that we can be.
Bradley International, completed in 2013, is the crown jewel of this massive renovation. With soaring architecture, world-class restaurants, shops, and guest services, all designed for the ultimate